Are you ready?
Yes.
Hello and welcome to All Things Real Time. I've forgotten, is this season 2, episode 3? That's a bad start.
Yes, it is indeed.
Fantastic.
Hello,
How are you,
welcome,
Lorimbo?
friends, and fun as always. I'm doing terribly.
Wow,
It's
this is...
how you're doing, not how I do. You can't even I have to
I'm mixing...
remind him. Like every time,
I'm
this is
mixing
not
out.
scripted. He tried to do. He tries to do it, but then he forgets what he's supposed to say, and then
This is
it's
bad
so
news
cringy.
because I'm also doing terribly, so we can't both be doing terribly.
Like he doesn't even know the question, bro. The formula. It's a formula here. It's a ritual. So
Hang on,
we
hang
are
on, hang
here
on.
today.
We
Yeah.
are, but I want to announce that after I said last week that we don't pre-record episodes and we don't stagger releases, we have decided to start pre-recording episodes as staggering releases. Can I get a round of applause, everyone? Can I get a cheer?
Did we? When did we decide that? I
We're
was
gonna do
unaware
it
of the.
every 2 weeks. So it's actually been like 19 days since we released an episode, and it's obvious
I mean,
because...
okay, wait a second. I will say though, I will say that you're not thinking this through
What? Why
because
not? Why not?
you're admitting it, but to some once, one time only, and you know perfectly well. Let's say, guys, at 10,000 subscribers, we release the unreleasable footage that
Yeah,
that made us stagger the episode. We had to do quite a bit
of editing. Yeah,
of
yeah.
editing. Yeah, Mr. HaRT here had
Many
to edit quite
kilos
a
of
bit.
reel all over my bedroom floor because I record this on an old timey camera. Yeah. No, it's the
Yeah,
thing is,
there
it's
was.
obvious. Here's what I'm saying. Here's the full press release. It's obvious because I said England is still in the Euros, and the day that the episode actually came out was the day that we lost the Euros. So it became very obvious that it hadn't been recorded that day. But here's what I'm saying. Here's my campaign promise, okay? I do not plan on changing anything. We're going to keep saying things that establish the exact date of the episode so that everyone always knows when it came out. Today,
So what?
Joe Biden died. No, he didn't. But he did. He did drop out of the campaign race, and
That's not today.
as
That's
as
not
as
today, man.
big as big Trump fans, we're both very excited. We're really
Don't
happy.
say that, but that's not true. For fuck's sake, bro. This is everything. This is also not the correct day. Today is, of course, the 29th of.
September.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not. It's not. Try to guess the date that this was recorded on. It's somewhere in July. I
Mhm.
can give you that, and it's before the 31st of July, as in 31st included.
You're really
Great
narrowing it
clue.
down.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm going to intro this. The content
Okay.
for this episode. Ready?
Yes, the code. Yeah,
Firstly, this content is quick and easy. People have made millions of dollars off of reacting to Reddit. But here's the reason we're reacting to Reddit, and I'm calling you out. It's because you stalk my Reddit profile, and I know you do. And I know you do.
Guys,
And also,
okay,
stop
just say, okay.
stop writing in Snake's chat that I think he's the American Cyril. I've never said that.
Guys, okay, if you are listening to this, you ever happen upon a stream called Snake Style, make sure to check out the stream, which is great, and write, my good friend Serral, sorry, my good friend HaRT thinks that you are the Serral of NA. Because HaRT here really enjoys Snake Style,
I love the
but he's a
stream.
bit too shy to tell him
I'm a big fan.
that.
Please give me a sub, please, somebody.
No, that's not what I wanted to say, actually. What were you saying before the Snake Style
We're
thing?
doing Reddit content. Let's
No, you
go.
were calling me. Oh, yes, yes. Do you have the courage to say what I stalked your Reddit on? Do you have the balls
What do you mean?
to say
It's a public profile. Anyone
what
can stalk me, and it's
what
all
this
very
guy what
embarrassing. So I'm not bothered.
what fucking dumb discussion you got in? Do you
Listen,
have the courage to reveal it?
I am an
Okay.
aquarium's zealot. I
Yeah,
care
I'm not.
fiercely about fish
Okay,
welfare.
I'm not gonna say what it was specifically, but it was regarding lows and aquariums.
The thing is,
Like,
everyone thinks we're joking, but it's genuinely unironically true.
it was
Genuinely
actually
true.
heated, but we're not talking about a normal. We're talking about heated discussion. Big words were thrown around because of aquariums and laws about aquariums.
Listen, I'm gonna stalk your Reddit. I'll find something equally embarrassing. We've got a bunch of Reddit posts that are semi-curated, as in we found them in the 5 minutes before we started recording this, and I screenshotted them and put them in OBS.
I actually took my time. I don't know what the fuck HaRT is doing. HaRT is. I don't want to be brought in with this lazy sack.
True.
Can I move this so it?
So you block the light. You look angelic.
We rotated a bit.
Such high production quality, bro.
Hey, one second, I can fix this one. Actually, I can
Okay. Look at this behind the scenes production quality. Oh my god, it's worse.
Is this worse?
It's worse. It's worse.
It's worse. You think? Fuck's sake.
Can you move the? Oh, he can't hear me. Listen, for audio only listeners, Lorimbo is currently trying to fix this lighting situation. Listen, we'll live with it. I love it.
You live with it.
But aren't you moving? So I'm not to dox you, but aren't you moving? Isn't this maybe the last we'll ever see of this location?
Yeah, you will never ever see this background ever again.
Oh.
No doxing, please. But
there's some iconic gifs filmed in this location.
Yes. We have to. I would have to redo the iconic looking for bitches that gif.
Okay. Reddit post number 1. Now, I don't know if you care about this, but I'm going to talk about it. Hang on, wait, you can't see it yet. I have to switch this as well.
I don't know what Reddit post it was. He knows my Reddit post because he had to kill it.
Yeah. There you go. There's my one.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. So this is on Age of Mythology.
Okay. I actually read this one.
So Age of Mythology is kind of more similar to the Age of Empires series, but obviously with this like mythology kind of thing behind it. So it's not just Greek; includes like there's Egyptian mythology and all sorts. I don't know, Norse, everything. Anyway, this post is called "They Are Lying About Using AI." This one got fairly decently upvoted. I've tried to include the upvotes and comments where possible, so you can see like. For context, this one was pretty highly upvoted. To me, this is so obviously AI. I've kind of trimmed and cropped these pictures so you can see them a bit better. The one on the left is like nobody has that many abs. That's not possible. Even gods don't have that many abs. Be real.
I mean, no, wait a second. That's such a fucking dumb thing to say. Like, believe me, in my fair share of watching art on the internet,
anime, normal anime.
I've seen every amount of like anatomic malformation drawn by real people, not by AI. So like this guy having 20.
Okay, fair point.
I don't think it's
the other two ones I've cropped to the hands because the hands are things that we know AI struggles with. So the middle one, for those who are listening, not watching, is a guy who has like quite clearly 5 fingers plus a thumb. Like you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a thumb. So that's 6. I mean, maybe he's just from Norfolk. That's a joke for British listeners, but don't worry about it. And then
I'm just saying. Do you know for certain how many fingers a god has?
Supposed to have? That's true.
No, like, I'm just saying, just because you puny human have 5 fingers per hand, doesn't mean that Mr. fucking Apollo here cannot go over 5.
That's true. Then the other one is a guy with a bow and arrow, but the arrow is clearly not in the string of the bow, and he also has a very weird number of like tendons and knuckles, very odd. And it's just like these are things that we know AI really struggles with, is like hands in particular, and like objects that are meant to be touching. It can really struggle. To me, it's pretty cut and dry. I'm interested basically on comments and thoughts on this one. Please go and check the images out yourself. The reason this one's a bit weird, and I kind of have 2 thoughts on it. I guess the first thought is that I think it's inevitable we start to see AI stuff in games, because art is a huge part of game development and getting that sort of thing right, especially if you are like a small indie studio with just a few people and none of you are particularly art inclined, let's say. It's like if you're all sweaty Java programming nerds, it's like, you know, you can only draw Minecraft textures, so then maybe using AI art is the way to go.
Why are you calling out my boy inertia like that?
So true. And then, but
This,
the other problem, yeah, you.
this is a joke that like people who don't know inertia will be like, why is he bringing up inertia with Java? Like imagine being a random fly on the wall and seeing Mr. Java genius. Okay, come on, let's keep going. Okay, I'm gonna
That
say you're being boring right
I
now. You're not
know because the other point is they literally said these are all hand painted, and now it's pretty clear to me at least that they're not 100% hand painted. I think it's possible that they're like they started with an AI drawing and then painted over it or something. But in any case, it's like, be real, this is not 100% hand drawn. And I think now the studio is basically lying to people about what this is. Now you go.
This is actually what I wanted to say too, unironically. I like on the subject of AI in arts and video games. I don't necessarily think. First of all, I don't think it's avoidable. I think that's just
Yeah.
gonna happen, whether you like it or not. So instead of forever, ever discussing about if we should or shouldn't happen, we should start making peace with the fact it's gonna happen and work around that. Secondly, I'm a bit neutral on this. I kind of have a problem with the AI in art because I think AI is not particularly great at doing certain things. But the thing is, we have to come full forward. We have used AI for some of our thumbnail. If you couldn't tell, you are not very sharp, are you?
We went to the school of the Artosis school of making thumbnails.
The Artosis school of making thumbnails. Yes, AI has a lot of advantages. Like it makes stuff insanely quickly. It saves you a lot of trouble. And
Yeah.
depending on the video game, I don't necessarily mind. You
Hmm.
know, like, do I really give a fuck if the portrait in Age of Mythology are
Yeah.
hand drawn
Yeah.
or AI generated? Like, does it change anything in the experience? But so this is the part where I'm like, okay, whatever, who cares? Like, this is not big of a deal. But I will point out three things that, in my
Hmm.
opinion, are very important here. Number one, it's very concerning the fact that they feel the need to lie about this. So this suggests that they know there is some pushback against AI art, and also there's a level of deception. Why? There's a level of deception because of my point number two. Artists cost money, AI doesn't, or it costs severely less. Like even if you
Yeah.
have to hire someone to like do the whole like work on it and like coordinate the style or whatever the fuck you the human resources department deems appropriate for for artistic integrity. You when you pay a video games, right? When you pay for a video game, when you support a video game, whether that is through Kickstarter or whether that is through actual buying the game and so on and so forth. There are a couple of things that are implied. First off, you are implying that the game is actually made by the people you are paying. Obviously, it's implied that the price is somewhat reasonable and is reflective of the work and cost that were put into the games, and so on and so forth. I fear that with the advent of AI, it will become easier and easier to just kind of, cut the middleman. Be like, well, we don't actually need artists. We
Yeah.
don't actually need writers, for example. That's the other thing I'm
Yeah.
worried
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
these
Why
people,
write
these
good
roles,
campaign dialogue when you can just
yeah.
tell ChatGPT write me a campaign for a strategy game based in mythology? Yeah.
Yeah, in mythology, like ancient Greece, for example, right? Ancient Egypt. So to me, what is concerning is not itself the use of the technology, but the fact that, in my opinion, this is very misleading and very, I would like very bad business practice. Once again, the problem with this is that you are, I won't call defrauding, but you are at least tricking the potential buyer of the game into supporting a project for a certain sum without making it transparent and clear what those monies are actually being spent for.
Hmm.
Because I can tell you for a fact that, at least in theory, for a game that has well, this is not necessarily the case with Age of Mythology, but for a game that heavily relies on storytelling and heart, obviously that's the main selling point. There's a big difference if you have to write a Disco Elysium with like 50 writers. Actually, it's like two that work 24 hours for years, but there's a big difference between that those people writing, and then you're like, okay, this deserves my money, and people are just like using ChatGTP or
Yeah,
Journey or whatever the fuck your favorite
yeah. The,
AI is. And
the
the
other
third point,
thing. Okay, you.
wait, 1 second, before I finish, this is short, tangentially related with the one I was just talking about. This is just bad for the industry, as in quality wise. You might not care about the portrait themselves, but you should care about the fact that it's become increasingly more acceptable to do a lazy job. Whether the lazy job is lazy because of AI or because just bad writing or because you couldn't be bothered. But it's increasingly worrying to me how the price of video games keeps rising and rising and rising and rising and rising and rising, but the quality doesn't keep up at all. It actually seems, in fact, sometimes to decrease
Hmm.
certain things.
Yeah,
I've thought this
this
happened
is
all these many times.
exactly related to what I was about to say. I think um, we have seen a spate of remakes. Warcraft Refunded springs to mind as an easy example, where they're not looking to improve on
Refund.
the game. What did I say?
Refunded, which is hilarious. Warcraft Refunded is a good title for it, but
They're not looking to improve the game or, tweak little things to make it better. They're looking to cash grab. And this sort of thing is what makes me worried that it's leaning more towards cash grab than towards a passion project that they're really wanting to put the time into. So if they're willing to skimp on things like this, what else in the game are they skimping on? And I haven't played the game yet. I don't know if it's out or if it's in pre-release
people
or you
are
have to
playing
like
it right
kickstart.
now.
Yeah, but I think
I'm
you
not
have
really
to
sure how they got
kickstart. You
access.
have to like pre-order and play it. I think is the
I
way.
tried to get I tried to get a media access, but I wasn't successful, unfortunately. So if
Okay, well,
anyone sees this,
everyone like and subscribe
uh,
so we can get media access to Age of
yes,
Mythology.
and if anyone that sees this has some ideas on how to get a copy of the game, feel free to hit me on a DM. My Discord is Lorimbo, just Lorimbo. So just hit me up on a DM if you have any information on how to get this. Because I've tried to look into it. I've asked a couple of notable figures in the RTS communities too, but a lot of them were contacted first. So it's a bit unclear to me. But also there were like a bunch of random people having keys that didn't pay for it. So maybe there was like some kind of giveaway or something. I'm
Yeah,
not really
who
clear
knows?
on it.
So I'm a big fan of AOM, and I would rather this game was good and not a weak cash grab like they've been doing across the board. But this sort of thing makes you worry. That's all I'll say. And I'm going to hedge my bets in case I can get beta. Please, I'd love a beta key for free, please, thank you. But yeah, I think when you're especially because as we said, the game isn't out yet. When you're trying to decide whether you want to buy a game or not, and this is the like level of effort that you see them going to, it makes you worry a little bit. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Please leave comments below. I'm not really sure on this one. I agree with most of what Lorimbo and I've said. I think it's one of these things that is now going to be unavoidable, and it's going to hit artists, writers, voiceover people at some point. So I don't know.
I
Keep your
didn't
eyes
even
peeled.
think about voice acting.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah,
you
this
can get
that
AI
will be.
Trump telling you to like skibbity toilet or whatever. So I don't see
Yeah,
why
I
you
know.
couldn't get all
I,
sorts.
okay, I will tell you a fun, unrelated story. There is a Twitch account called Trump or Biden, 24 hours. It's just a AI generated discussion with the chat and stuff, and that is made by one of the biggest cons on the internet. I'm not gonna say who that is, but it's a content creator that was infamous first for World of Warcraft, then for League of Legends. I still remember his fake 1v5 Rise videos. We're talking 2012, like we're talking 10 years ago. I'm gonna write his name and you're gonna
I'm
see. You're
writing
gonna...
his name to you. Also, I
No, no,
realized.
no,
Okay.
no. It's this.
Also, I realized.
No, that guy is based, bro. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
okay, yeah, okay. I do know who that is. I realized.
This one.
Is the preview mirrored for you? By the way, like, is the writing backwards? Because it is almost like a
No,
monitor when I see the thing. It's backwards. Okay, that's good. I
no.
was worried you were
Primitive
like
style.
reading the Reddit post backwards. Good. That's okay. Good.
I
Do you
have
want
a
to
lot of.
do
This
one
is
of
so
your
annoying.
ones?
Holy fuck. Yeah, sure. Anyone will be do fine.
Okay. This one. It might be a bit BM. I'll switch
Hey,
it
which
over
one?
now. There you go.
How is it BM?
You can
Okay.
you can read
I
it.
wanted to keep this for later. Fuck you, but I should not have said anything. I was about to say anyone except this one. Okay, BattleAces has the polish that Stormgate would love. So the trailer for BattleAces during E3 and it looked cool. Now that I played it for a few hours, it's everything I hoped Stormgate would actually be. A fast-paced competitive RTS that innovates and makes competitive RTS more accessible without taking away the skill ceiling. And somehow it's even more polished than Stormgate despite Stormgate massive funding. As far as I know, BattleAces hasn't taken a single dollar from players so far, but the unit voice lines and overall art and new design are peak. Try it out if you get the chance. A lot of SC2 pros are giving out keys in the stream. Okay.
So I
So
would say
actually, I did
two
not
things.
pick. No, can I first?
Okay,
I'll
go
throw
go.
you a surprise curveball.
I'm ready.
Okay.
It's not a curveball if you announce it, by the way, but go.
Fuck off. I actually chose this, not because I agree with it, but because I disagree with it.
Okay, that is a curveball.
So people, yeah, I thought these are common. Like, okay, everyone is, I know in the comment, everyone's like, Lorimbo, you hate Stormgate, you went on the Storm. No, I wanted to defend Stormgate against it because I think this post is unfair. I think this post misses quite a bit of points,
Yeah, I agree.
and it's a bit naive,
So I'll
in my
say
opinion.
really quickly, it has 120 upvotes, but it also has 170 comments. So it's on like the controversial side.
I mean, I didn't pick it because it was controversial. I picked it because I thought it was a very discussed about topic, right?
Mhm.
Like the comparison. This is not the only post that was. This is just the one that gained the more traction.
Yeah.
And more importantly, Frost Giant has replied to it,
Yeah.
and I think Gerald has actually has a pretty good response
Yeah, I
here.
didn't get his reply. But keep talking, I'll find it. I'll get it.
Okay. So let's talk about my take on this comment before we saw the official response from Frost Giant. So Lorimbo, why you the supreme Stormgate hater, which I've come to be known as, even though that is not true. As I said many times, I want Stormgate to succeed. Why are you defending Stormgate here? Well, I'm defending Stormgate because I don't think this is a comment that makes a lot of sense in the context of the RTS genre right now as it is. So first off, the most important thing is, in my opinion, it is evident that this comment is written with a bit of spice, right? Like it's trying to be a bit provocative, especially because it has a call to action. It's telling you it's not only like discuss. It's not like this is not really talking about Stormgate. This is basically a post that could be summarized in "Go play BattleAces," which
Yeah.
there's nothing
And it's
wrong with it.
on the Stormgate subreddit, so it's
Yeah.
behind enemy lines a little bit.
No, you're covering me, you evil monster.
You're covering yourself with that bad lamp.
Yeah, that is true. This lamp is gonna be the cameras are an accessory, right? So most people don't even watch the video; they listen to, as they should. To be clear, I do it too. Like, who the fuck has time to watch these two fucking cans on the internet? Like, do expressions. No, but jokes aside, I don't think that is necessary to see Stormgate as a competitor to Zero Space or BattleAces, or BattleAces as a competitor to Zero Space and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think there is the pool or the market for that. And that is, I don't even think that is how RTS genre works. So let's talk about this a bit, right? In a MOBA game, MOBA compete with each other. Why is that? The reason for that is that the amount of time that you need to invest into a MOBA to become proficient at it, somewhat, is very, very, very high. You don't just learn a MOBA, because a MOBA is so reliant on the core information about what each item does, what the proper build is on a champion, how the macro works in this game versus game, that people tend to play only one of them. But I don't think this is the case for RTS or for FPS games, for example. You might notice that FPS gamer, think about your favorite one, Shroud, Ninja, they don't only play the game that made them famous. Well, Ninja only almost exclusively played Fortnite for a while. It made sense commercially speaking. But they play multiple games. They're gonna be playing COD, Battle, like Warzone, whatever the fuck it's called. I'm fucking awful with
Wow,
FPS.
you're so down with the kids and cool.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna be playing Fortnite. They're gonna be playing what the fuck,
Siege?
Apex Legend, Siege, and so on and so forth, right? Because that is a type of game where skill translates quite well. If you're good at FPS, chances are you're gonna be good at other FPS. And more importantly, it doesn't require a big investment into knowledge. Maybe Siege is being the exception. But like anyone can just download Valorant and try. And I actually think, despite the infamous very high skill curve, still like being so high, so tall, and so forth, I do not think that is to be the case for RTS. I think RTS have a pretty convertible skill, pretty convertible skills from each other. And I think most RTS gamers, actually most of the market, don't only think about the pro players, which might or might not only play one game, but I think most of the RTS players play more than one. In
Yeah,
fact,
I think it's interesting. I think a lot of people have a main game, and it's like,
yeah,
are you a StarCraft player, or are you a Age of Empires player, or a Warcraft person? And like people tend to pick the one they favor the most. But I think you'll struggle to find like StarCraft players that haven't played an Age of Empires game, and vice versa.
yeah, absolutely, and even more. Like we saw with the success of Stormgate, we saw the success of Zero Space and with BattleAces, and even the hype for stuff like Tempest Rising and so on and so forth.
Mhm.
I've said myself, my scope was limited before, like the last 2 years. I think my scope was severely limited. I only played StarCraft, nothing else. StarCraft 2 and nothing else. Right, but then I branched out because a friend was like, "Oh, well, look, Age of Empires 4, it's actually pretty good right now." I was like, "You know what? I don't think I like StarCraft. I think I actually like RTSs. Like I like the genre because I also had a pretty fun time with that too." And then I tried Stormgate. I was like, "Oh, I also like this." And then I tried Zero Space. I was like, "Oh, I also like this."
Yep.
And then I tried the BattleAces. It was like, "I also like this." Now,
And then you
not
tried
everyone can be a
Brood
god
War, and you
gamer.
hated it.
Yeah, Blood War is fucking awful. Controls fucking awfully. I like games that are made without conscious limitation to the player. You know.
Then why
Fun
did you
fact
pick
for
Zerg?
anyone who doesn't know, Brood War having 12 units max in a control group or one building. That is not a technical limitation at all. We had infinite selection way before that.
Well, yeah,
It's
Age of
a
Empires came out.
design choice.
Yeah, Age of Empires came out the same year. They're both from '98, and Age of Empires has infinite unit selection. So, I don't know. Think about it.
Or no, I think it's capped at like 50 or 200, but something way more
There's a supply cap,
manageable.
but yeah,
Yeah, like it's no, even in the selection, I think there's a cap on number of units. I think it's 60 in Age of Empires 2, if I remember
okay.
correctly, but it's way higher.
Yeah.
Regardless, the 12 is a design.
Okay. To get back to the Reddit post, there's something it says in
Yeah,
particular. It's more polished than Stormgate, despite Stormgate's massive funding. And I've now put Gerald's comment on stream. This is just not true. BattleAces has more money than Stormgate does.
yeah,
I'm nearly certain
quite.
of it. So, as Gerald points out, BattleAces is bankrolled by Tencent. I think, as far as I understand it, I may be wrong on the kind of structure, but isn't BattleAces in Tencent via Riot? Is that the way around it is? Or is Stormgate in
I
Riot?
think so.
Don't know. In any case,
No, I think that it is like that.
yeah, in any case, they do have more. They have more money, and I think that's what you're seeing. I think it's not always that money translates to quality, and you can see that in like really small indie games that massively outperform their budget. But for the most part, like be real, money makes the world go round.
Well, I don't want to go around saying that Battle Races are more money because I'm not so sure about that actually. If you think about stuff like the number of employees, right? The team dimension don't seem to suggest a super high budget.
Yeah, it's not
I,
AAA, 100
I'm not
million. Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure on that. But what I wanted to say is that regardless, comparing Battle Races to Stormgate in regards of, for example, graphical design stuff. Well, first of all, everyone has their own opinions. This is obvious, but that's also very misleading. Like this is just dumb because it's one is I can tell you, someone who has tried to actually put my hand in programming. There is a world of difference between having to program something that is very very limited. Like don't forget that Battle Races, you didn't exactly test multiple maps. You didn't exactly test a game that was very, creative. What we could
yeah.
do. It was very streamlined experience. It's much easier to get models and stuff to work. For example, there are no workers, there is no building. You don't have to have models for the buildings in construction. Everything spawns instantly.
There's
There is no
resources
animations.
or yeah.
Yeah, there is no animation to or no resource to be mining and so forth and so forth and so far. How do you even say it? And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So regardless, first off, let me be clear. This doesn't mean that Frost Giant is cleared of all criticism. I think there are, God knows, have plenty of criticism with a lot of the things that they have done or the way they have handled things. But I think that saying that Stormgate lacks polish because BattleAces did it better is a bit like saying, oh, your open world game lack polish in the boss design because Shadow of the Colossus did it better. Yeah, but Shadow of the Colossus only does bosses. There is nothing else to the game. That's the whole point. Open world game has more than that. Right? Stormgate has stuff like campaign, stuff like co-op.
Yes, this is what
different maps
Gerald's
and
comment
so on.
says, right? Stormgate has asymmetric factions, wide variety of maps, ongoing campaign and new missions, 3-player co-op and 3-player competitive, in-game editor, and these are things that aren't going to ship when it drops in now less than a week. I'm narrowing down the day this was recorded on. When it drops soon, but it does. Wait, is it less than a week or am I wrong? No, it is. I am right. Okay, cool. Sorry. But they are things that they have put at least a little bit of time and effort into, and I'm sure BattleAces will have covered some of these things. BattleAces has 2v2, for example, but the 2v2 mode was not much different from the 1v1. It was the same map.
Yes, it was the same map. I mean, some of the things were nice. Once again, I'm not shitting on BattleAces or Stormgate here.
Yeah.
I think BattleAces was made very well. The polish was there. That is undeniable. I'm just saying that as far as talking about budget and the way those were handled regarding to polish, I think the comparison cannot be made properly.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that I will say though, as somewhat of a point, as in at least it's a more interesting to think about, is the sentence a fast-paced competitive RTS that innovates and makes competitive RTS more accessible without taking away the skill ceiling. Now, the part without taking away the skill ceiling, okay, listen, I'm a top 10 world BattleAce player. You can check my Twitter for proof of the fact that I've been top 10 in the leaderboard and competed with Clem, with Trigger, with all of the famous players. So I'm a very good BattleAces player. If you think there is no skill ceiling that's taken away, you're coping a bit. There should never be a game in which on ladder I go I went 6 and 8 against Clem, so almost a 50-50 win rate. There is no world in which that should be the case. It was because of better strategy. It was because a lot of things like a lot of the complexity that RTS normally have, BattleAces doesn't, so that cuts a lot of corner and lets me do stuff that usually I shouldn't be able to, even against someone like Clem was insane. Insane micro.
I think of it like you're juggling balls, and normally you juggle to play a game of StarCraft at Clem level. You have to juggle 50, and they've taken away most of the balls, so now you can focus on just juggling the 3 that you can do, and makes you competitive against people that in a different playing field are much stronger than you.
So but I do think there is a point to be made, right? What do players actually want from the new ART? Because, and this I cannot stress this enough, I keep hearing lower time to kill. We have to lower the time to kill because it's too frustrating to play a game where half of your army disappears for a bailing or from a disruptor or from whatever. In BattleAces, your whole army disappears from 2 shockers or from a heavy ballista. But why was it so enjoyable then? Why did people play? Even regardless of the deck building aspect, I think the game loop itself was very interesting, right? So there is, I think, the one good point that this post needs, and I think is not properly addressed by Gerald, is the fact that design-wise, I would say BattleAces has gone in almost the completely opposite direction of Stormgate. First off, I will say it's very innovative. at least in the context of RTS, you can say, well, it's a carbon copy of Clash Royale, sure, but it's not like the idea of making deck buildings in RTS hasn't been floated around before. And BattleAces, I think, is the only one that actually, managed to properly do it without being without having a terrible result, in my opinion. So I personally think that the concept, the way they did it, was very interesting, and the design space was completely opposite, right? Super quick, games are very short, very punishing.
10-minute time limit.
Very punishing. Now there are things outside of the game itself, like the ranking system, that make it less punishing. That artificially inflate your MMR or make it so it's not as frustrating and so on and so forth. And those are good ideas, some of them at least. Take a look at the battle episodes if you want to know like more details on what I'm talking about. But it is interesting of the fact that this signifies to me, at least, even the fact this was voted, that a lot of people didn't necessarily want that lower time to kill. But this has nothing to do with casual or pro gamers. Here we're not talking about this Sean Gray. This guy is not a pro gamer. This is not Clem. This is not me. Yes, I'm just as much of a pro gamer as Clem. That's why we put. This is not Serral. This is not Ricardo. This is not. This is none of these people. This is a random dude. This is someone that enjoys RTS like you or me, right? So clearly, I think even for people, I would, if I had to guess, I would also bet, considering the way it's written, that this is also someone that was above 18. So we're not talking a Zoomer child either. We're talking about an adult here. I'm willing to take a guess. I might be wrong about this. So I think that's something to think about, right? Because I think speed, as I've said before, I've discussed it with Mixu in the past, is one of the things that really, really, really is annoying about Stormgate. Just how much time it takes for it to get going. So some food for thought, something to consider. But we have to move on.
Well,
Say your thing and move
my
on.
last thought
Yeah.
is I think there's space for both games. I think they're different enough that they can both coexist. I think some people will really vibe with BattleAces and think like, I wasn't that keen on the macro elements and I wasn't that bothered about, building up an economy and doing that sort of thing. So that doesn't bother me. And I think some people will really dislike it and will prefer to play Castle Age, Age of Empires for 40 minutes or whatever.
A lot of people also really
just
like. A lot of people just don't want even to play 1v1, right? So Stormgate has the co-op, the campaigns, and those things, those have a way bigger markets. Like if you're listening to this and you are a 1v1 ladder nerd like me or HaRT, believe me, the market for co-op and campaign is way bigger than you think.
Yep.
Like there is a lot of potential there. So don't necessarily think like BattleAces may scratch the itch for the people who just like enjoy the ladder
sweaty,
over and over again,
hyper-competitive nerds, but like
yeah,
there's a lot of people that just want to sit and chill. Old boomers want to sit and chill and play a campaign against an AI.
Weak.
Not for that. Okay, the reason I put this one up is because the next one I wanted to talk about, there you go, that's on the screen now, is from David Kim from BattleAces. This post is a bit long. I'm not going to read it all. The only bit that I wanted to highlight is game tuning types of changes we do believe we can turn around rather quickly compared to brand new systems or UI. Additions will take quite a lot of time due to us having a very small development team with only one developer on one specific part of the game. And then he says, we have specific reasons and thoughts for building up our team this way, but this may be another fun topic of discussion for another day. I think this was just interesting to me. I don't know that I have a massive point around this, that they're basically saying like the team that works on the social side of things or the matchmaking side of things, all these aspects to the game are very small and they're very light on the ground. And that's why the kind of BattleAces philosophy was very quick on the balance changes compared to a game like Stormgate, and especially compared to a game like StarCraft, where they were, constantly, it was about every week, right? Maybe less than in some cases that they were doing some balance change.
Less than that, usually around 5 days. But it depended a bit because some of the changes they were like trying to avoid the tournaments and show match and such. to me, what I found interesting about this is that regardless, say what you want about David Kim, and as I said, I disagree with some of his design quite a bit. It's clear to me that he has a vision for the game. Like he has a specific thing he wants to do. He has a vision, and once again, I've criticized this a lot with Stormgate. I don't necessarily like developers who have a vision, try to push it through, ignoring everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
But at least what I can say about David Kim compared to some of Stormgate is that if nothing else, his vision shines through the game that he's making. As in, it's very evident. Like there is no wobbling around. There's not weird design. Like I completely disagree. I think some of the balance changes were ridiculous. Like make the game even more trivial than it was for certain aspect. Especially the what do I call it? The destroyer nerf created one of the most toxic meters I've ever seen. But I was only at the top level, but David Kim was always said that he wanted the experience to be tailored around players that were not the competitive ones. I found this interesting because this is quite similar to how stuff like League of Legends approached the sun for a long time. In fact, it's quite an interesting fun fact. Most, let's say, first 5 or 6 seasons, which is the season I was most active in LoL, pro play was completely broken most of the time. There were like strategies that were so overpowered or oppressive and stuff that you had to like either pick or ban them. Some mention Kalista was a disaster at one point. I remember in season 3, the subject was basically a glorified word buyer. No joke. In pro play, all supports did was buy words. Like they would skip every item, just buy words and words
This
and
is the
words and words.
sight stone. I remember the sight stone. I used to build it
No,
on.
this is
Used to
before the
build it on
size.
Lee Sin, and there was a jungle item
Actually,
that could place wards as well. Do you remember that?
yes, but you're thinking of season 5 and 6. I'm talking season 3, bro. There was no side stone. You had to buy each one individually, and you also had the old pink wards, which were invisible and different from the new ones. It was 10. Unironically, I think it was 12 years ago. Holy fuck, it's been a long time since I played it. Yes, season 3, I think,
Yeah.
was 2013, 2012.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe.
Yeah, so
Yeah, maybe before. Yeah.
like, but the game was tailored at the time around making the experience fun for most of the players, and a lot of the things that were introduced were like, I remember, maybe with a touch of nostalgia, it might cloud my judgment, but regardless, what is undoubtable is that it had result, right? Like people like that kind of designs. They like the fact that the game was fun. That's the thing. I'm like, who cares about this great design concept? I don't like the way David Kim makes his game. I don't like the way he balances, but at least I play the game and I enjoy my time at it. Now I enjoy means that I still scream 24 hours a day. People who have been with me in a voice chat will know that. But still, I enjoyed my time at BattleAces, and I think the game was quite addictive. So it's an interesting take, on the design perspective. One guy going through with it. I wish I could be the designer. I would morph BattleAces in the sweatiest RTS you've ever seen. You have to micro every single unit individually. No, I'm kidding, but at least it was a fun experience, if nothing else.
Okay. Okay. You can choose. We can talk about StarCraft or we can talk about Stormgate.
Let's go Stormgate, then we do StarCraft one.
StarCraft at the end. Okay. Do you have one in mind, or am I picking randomly?
Pick the one that you like. The good one was already
It's already gone.
okay.
This
This
one.
is a short one.
Okay. Read it.
So this was actually to me way more interesting. This was way less than upvoted. I think. I
Yeah,
think
I
it had
trimmed that
zero
off. I
upvotes.
think it was on 0. Yeah.
Yeah. So people don't enjoy like this is weird to me. Like the one that, in my opinion, made a faulty comparison was very upvoted, but this
150
one,
upvotes. Yeah.
yeah, but this one,
That's
which I
Reddit
think
for you.
the
That's Reddit.
this one actually I did at some fairly good points. So one thing I will say, the tone of this is clearly, in my opinion, less confrontational. I don't think this is bait. I genuinely don't think this is bait. I think this is really someone who bought in, was excited about the hype, and is now being disappointed, very disappointed. So let's read the post. Hi to all. I'm excited by the release of Stormgate, but I'm a single player, play once the campaign guide. I understand Stormgate looks forward to the competitive scene with 3-on-3 matches, but as my hype is recent, I have not seen anything proper regarding the campaign. What I am worried about is that what I have seen looks bland. In StarCraft, campaign missions have special assets to reinforce the ambience and which make it all the more entertaining. And I haven't seen that in whichever promotional material I could find. I totally understand the game is in early access and things will improve, but I want to support the development of the game and buy the early access pack. But I would feel bad for leaving a bad review for something actually undercooked, which would or would not, this is early access, improve with time. So what are your thoughts? Thanks in advance. Let's talk about this. So goes back to some of the things we are talking about in the previous video. The reason why I chose this one is because I think Frost Giant has been quite, let's say, not excellent with their communication about exactly what are they prioritized. I distinctly remember, I don't have a source for this, as in, I'm sure there is a source of this somewhere, but I remember this very clearly, that at one point it was specifically stated, we're talking very early, before anyone had played the game, that the game was gonna be focused on 3v3.
Yeah,
I
no,
also remember
I had the
talks
same
of
memory.
Heroes. I also remember talks of Heroes being in these 3v3 mods. Now, I might have hallucinated that. Like maybe I'm like, if someone were source, do you have it? I'm sorry, I couldn't find it. I tried to look for it, but I remember this quite strongly. As in, this is not just something that I had an impression of. This was something that was explicitly said, because I also remember this creating quite a backlash
Yeah,
at the
I remember
time.
that too. Yeah.
Yet, it seems to me like they've switched in their actual beta access, the early access, no, before the early access, sorry, their alpha, beta, omega, gamma, whatever access period. They to switch their focus mostly on 1v1. So clearly there's been a lot of work in the making for campaigns. And we are gonna get soon, I think in 7 days it will already be available. 3+3, if I understood correctly, missions.
Yes. Yeah, there will
Right?
be
So
missions in
3
the
prologue that are gonna
ATRT.
be free, and plus 3 that you if those are gonna constitute the first mission
Yeah, chapters they're
packet.
calling it. Yeah.
No, I will give them props. I really like the fact that they're giving the prologue out for free. No buying in like blind. You get
Well,
what you
I'm gonna be a bit harsher because this guy is saying, I want to pre-order. I want to get into the early access. So if you wait for August when the game is out, you can play the prologue. But this guy's saying he wants to pre-order. So by doing it this way, they're essentially losing that pre-order sale, the early access sale, because that guy's going to wait and see whether he likes the game or not. I don't know if that makes any sense. So a lot of the comments on this were basically saying, well, play the prologues, and if you like them, buy the rest of the campaigns or not. But I feel like if this guy's saying, oh, but I want to support the game and buy it now, they're losing that sale. He's going to wait a bit, and then maybe he doesn't like the prologue, so then he doesn't buy the rest of the campaign, and they lose him completely.
And this once again brings me to what I was talking about in the previous videos. Because they've made so many promises, right? This is gonna be the next great RTS. This is gonna have a great campaign, a good co-op, a good 1v1, and so on. Now they have to deliver.
Yeah,
And I don't
yeah,
buy for a second that most people, like that all of the people that pledged, for example, on Kickstarter or helped through hyping the game up, talking about it, leaving a positive review, playing the game, however you interacted with the game.
hmm
I don't think all of them were interested necessarily in the 1v1. I know a lot
yeah,
of people, as I said before, once again, to reiterate, this is something that's very weird to me, how the sweaty nerds like us don't really think about this, but co-op and campaigns are very important.
hmm
And it was a bit
yeah.
weird the fact that there is no
No real
real
footage.
trailer
Yeah.
for it, like
So
no real
yeah, I think they're in a
now.
tough spot because it seems a lot like they're trying to be all things to all people. And the heroes thing, when they said, "Oh, our main," and this is my memory, I may be wrong, but if they're saying our main kind of competitive mode will be 3v3 with heroes, that to me says we're trying to tap towards the MOBA crowd or the Warcraft folks who are really looking for heroes in the game. And then they're saying, "Oh, we're going to do co-op and campaign," and that to me kind of, they're trying, in my eyes, to grab as many disparate audiences as they can. The problem with that is you're almost certain to overpromise, and the problem with overpromising is you're almost certain to underdeliver at some level.
Yeah.
Don't know.
So in the previous video, I was more focused on the faults of 1v1 and the things that I liked, I didn't like about Frigate, I think
Frigate.
it's the correct. They always write it, but I never heard them say it. But this, I brought this post up because it brought another perspective, right? Like someone whose thoughts are very different from mine, who obviously cares way more about the campaign aspect and the not so much the social aspect of it, but it's like single player experience or at most like co-op PV experience.
Yeah.
Have we thought are those true? Like, is the co-op actually good? I tried it a bunch. I'm not a co-op expert. It didn't get me entertained. But then again, neither did the StarCraft one, so which is considered to be quite good. So I won't express myself on it because I don't think I'm the target
You're not the
audience.
market, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not the
No.
market. But I do wonder if there is out there like some fucking other Lorimbo that's like, wow, this is the worst co-op I've ever seen. Like they don't know anything about design co-op,
Yeah, I'm interested to see how it pans out. I really hope that they do manage to kind of juggle all the things that they're trying to. I think this is a really important thing for them to get right because it's really important for their long-term plans with regards to monetization. And the problem with making a really hyper-competitive 1v1 mode is it's actually really hard to monetize, especially when you get down to it with things like the skin opportunities and how many
Yeah.
what changes people are actually comfortable with you making to the skins. I mentioned this in previous podcasts. Loads of people bitch already about like immortal skins that make it look like a stalker. So you're actually quite limited in what you can do with monetization in a really competitive 1v1 game, which means they need to be they need
I
to
mean,
they need to get
up
this
to a
right for the
point.
game to keep
In
going.
League of Legends, there are infamously pay to win skins that like make your hitbox look weird or stuff like that. Actually, one last thing I wanted to say because I just remembered about this. Contextually tangent to this, I wonder about the quality of their storytelling and their lore. Some of the things that don't have not impressed. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fan of the working with a real archaeologist. Some people thought it was a really cool IRG. I found it cheap, but that's
Well,
I cannot. I don't have
I feel like
anything
I've said this
objective to
before.
say.
Please keep giving scientists money. We need money. Give me money.
Yeah, the archaeologist, the archaeologist is nothing wrong. I like her. Pretty
Um,
cool, but
the other thing I will say is,
it was
I might have forgotten it. Keep talking. It'll come back to me.
yeah. Like what I wonder is like, is the thing with real life archaeology is that gonna be part of the lore? Is it gonna be like just a thing that you put in before? Like maybe they're gonna turn it around. Maybe I'll change my mind. I don't want to speak too soon. Maybe the
Will
real
you
life
try the campaign?
archaeology.
Will you try
Yes,
it?
Art. I've played the Wings of. I
Oh,
played the
that's true.
StarCraft campaign for 7 years before I ever touched the
You're gonna be
1v1.
the world
People,
record Stormgate speedrunner.
yeah, people don't know it, but I'm a speedrunner of campaigns. I hold several world records, several games, only campaigns. I played the campaigns only for StarCraft for 7 years before ever touching 1v1. Nowadays, I'm more known for my 1v1, but I
That's why
actually
you're
started
so
playing
good at
1v1.
1v1. That's where you
Yeah,
honed
I
your
actually
skills.
I started playing 1v1 in 2020, boys. Yes, a player this good I started in the pandemic. I was bored, it was August. no, I couldn't leave my house because it was Italy and everyone was dying of COVID. Shout out to my brother, to my dickhead brother who got COVID again.
Oh no. No, here's what I was gonna say, and they're not gonna like me for this one, but they're not gonna like me for this one.
We are so getting, bro, we are getting fucked.
Don't pre-order anything. Just don't do it. It never works. Wait for reviews. Wait as
Not
long as you
even I
can.
was this brave, bro. Not even I was this brave.
Don't pre-order things. It's just such a waste of money. I've never pre-ordered anything in my life, and I will try not to. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Don't pre-order things. Keep your money. See how things are. Watch reviews. Watch videos, and then give them your money if you're comfortable and confident in what you like. You like what you see.
But you don't understand. I need my name on Discord to be orange. I need it.
You need an in-game chicken pet.
I need the in-game chicken pet, yes.
Based.
Some people are collectionists, they like it. We are a bit, we're making fun of you guys, but it's really not that bad. But I don't want that.
What I would say, this is
attributed to me. I'm
this slandering you right now, not even me. No, what I'm saying is,
gonna be like, oh, Lorimbo said don't pre-order. Like this is.
What I'm saying is, if you want to support a thing that you believe in, do that, but don't kickstart or not kickstart, but don't pre-order a game because you're confident it's good, because that's the only way that is the main way that everyone is always disappointed. It's Cyberpunk, it's No Man's Sky, it's a million other things. It's like, oh, but the trailer looked awesome, so I gave them. You can pre-order a Tesla, a Cybertruck now. The fuck is that about? Okay, let's move on before I get.
I can't wait until we start to pre-order groceries. Pay today, get your groceries tomorrow. But your groceries are gonna come in an exclusive rainbow neon bag.
Okay, this is another one on the shit train, shitting on Stormgate train. It's on
but this time we are doing a shit sandwich. We started with a good one. This shit one, and then we have to end on a good one.
Okay, we'll try our best.
Stormgates. Do you want to read it, or
I can read this one? Yeah, I didn't. This is your one again, but Stormgate feels like a stripped-down version of StarCraft 2. While there are some good ideas, such as the separate balancing for 1v1 and 3v3 modes, and the core gameplay seems to function well according to beta testers, the game doesn't offer much groundbreaking innovations and never gives me a wow moment. Don't get me wrong, I wish the game much success and yearn for a gripping RTS experience. However, Stormgate has several points of criticism for me. You made me read the longest fucking post, fuck you.
I literally offered.
These are bullet points. I'll do the bullet points. Graphics. The graphics are functional at best, both technically and in terms of art style. Do you want to talk about them point by point, or?
Yeah, let's talk about point by point. Okay.
I
don't give a fuck about
me neither. And everyone on the Reddit, this is because this is kind of what I wanted to talk about a bit. This was meant to be like a bit of a like a time capsule where we like talk about what the Reddit hive mind is right now. I am a real life archaeologist reporting on the lore of Stormgate Reddit. And what it is a lot of it right now is these are sort of really common things that come up. Is lots of people comparing it to other games. Loads of like. Okay, fact check me, but like 60% of the complaints are about graphics. Like that's one of the most common things I see come up all the time.
Yeah, it's very like I don't know, bro. It's like okay, even in the Korean video, a lot of this was like graphics. It looks like a mobile game. You know why it looks like a mobile game? Yeah, I'm gonna I swear to God, I like okay. Are you ready, boys? Like people who are listening to this. Styles and trends of graphics evolve over time. The reason why it looks like a mobile is because it's targeting the same audience that's being targeted by mobile game. Teenagers. You are not a teenager anymore. You are fucking 40. Like I'm 24. I'm old. Yes, I wish games looked like they looked when I was 14, but that cannot. That's not how it works. Today, the kids want to play Fortnite. They want to play Clash Royale. They want to play the cool Zoomer games to have the graphics that look like that. You can't hold on a company and be like, "Wow, the graphics doesn't look," and then be like, "Oh, but fucking what was it called? Dwarf or Tempest Rise have graphics just like the ones that are like, yeah, those are gonna sell 3 copies. All 3 of them are geriatric 6-year-old gamers. I'm not making fun of you. By the way, I want to be clear. I'm not making fun of people who are old and enjoy video games. I will enjoy video games until I die at 80. What I'm saying is you have to
You're not making it
recognize
to
that
80. Sorry, carry on.
I'm not making it to 30, bro, with the current lifestyle, bro. If I order McDonald's one more time, I think the guy's gonna be like, I think McDonald's is gonna stage
It's
an
gonna cut you
intervention
off.
on me. He's gonna be like, bro, no more, bro,
Like,
chill.
have
Yeah,
you
you gotta
considered
chill.
crack? It might be healthier.
It's gonna make me lose weight. It might be good. Uh, you know that because of this reference, we're gonna be
Yeah,
censored on
yeah.
adult topic. We are gonna get reported. Please don't report the video, Mr. Viewers. Maybe YouTube doesn't notice. Anyway, uh, I'm not making fun of you for wanting certain stuff. There is stuff that appeals to nostalgia, appeals to the stuff that you like, the style of graphics. But in my opinion, the endless complaints about graphics are a bit pointless. Either you like it or you don't like it. You can ask them to change it, and if the feedback is good enough, maybe they will change it, but I doubt it. I feel like if you think the core of an RTS is the graphic, I would like, I can't even say you're wrong, but like, even for someone who enjoys, for example, the campaign, right? You're like, oh, you're thinking like this because I 1v1 player. No, because like, if I'm playing the campaign or the co-op, I would say that probably the storytelling, the game being fun, like the repetitive cycle being interesting. I think all of those things are more important than the graphic, even if you're not as waiting, right? Like, I feel like the graphic are being hit because they're not gritty. But I will tell you also something. Back in 2010, people said exactly the same thing about StarCraft. Word to word, I consider putting a post from 11 years ago that I found in 2013 talking about how StarCraft was never going to be successful. StarCraft 2 was never going to be successful because the graphics were just too cartoonish, like compared to the ones of StarCraft 1. And that was hilarious to hear, obviously, because now StarCraft 2 is the standard, right? And then when Age of Empires 4 came out, people were like, well, this looks too cartoonish and simplistic compared to Age of Empires 2. And when Age of Mythology Retold will come out, people will say the same thing. And in 20 years, people will be like, no, bro, Zula Bababa looks too cartoonish. Stormgate was very tough. Like, if you have a specific complaint about the low quality of a thing, that's one thing. But arguing about the graphics because you don't like the art style is, well, we say it in Italian, the gustibus, which is an abbreviation for a whole Latin phrase, which basically means about matters of taste. It's pointless to discuss. There is nothing to say here. Anything to add?
Yeah, I found a post because of what you just said. I'll put it on screen. Um, here we go. Here we go. From Game Forums, Game FAQs.
Holy fuck, bro. What a
There you go.
blast in the
And it
past,
says
bro.
graphics too cartoony. StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty. Who here thinks the graphics from gameplay screenshots etc. are too cartoony? By cartoony, I mean Warcraft 3-ish, especially some of the unit colors which are too bright slash fake slash happy. I think they could have made it look a bit grittier slash dark. This is 16 years ago. This post
Okay,
is from.
I'm
So
pretty sure.
everyone's
I'm
always
pretty
going to
sure.
push for.
I'm pretty sure that if I copy pasted this comment on Reddit and just substitute any mention of StarCraft with Stormgate and the
Yeah.
mention of Warcraft 3 with Fortnite or a mobile game, a generic mobile game, people will be like, up,
150 upvotes easy.
100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It shows you, what do they say? History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the boomers were like, oh yeah, like as teenagers they're like, oh no, my generation is the best. Like my parents are so dumb for
Yeah,
thinking like I'm
yeah,
stupid.
yeah, yeah.
And they become dads themselves like, oh, my son is lazy. Back in my day, we are not lazy. Like every generation is like that. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
insane. Like right now, I'm from 2000. I don't know what the fuck my generation is. I think it's Gen Z. I'm not sure. Or
Yeah,
Gen
you
X
might
or
be. I
whatever.
think I'm not barely, but
I
yeah.
think you're a millennial, HaRT.
Unsure.
think you. I'm sorry. Do you like your avocado toast and $10 latte?
Listen, yes.
No, but I'm saying, uh, like we were the guys that were lazy and so on. I swear to God, now I see TikToks from people my age that are like, "Oh, back in my days, we were cool and hip and trendy and like not lazy at all." But these new generation alpha kids, they don't know respect. Like, bro, what the fuck?
Okay.
Really?
Pew Research
Did you
Center
read?
says that I'm Gen Z. Let's go. Thank you, Pew Research Center. Your check is in the post. The fact that I still say check, the fact that I say check means that I'm a millennial. No one uses,
Yeah.
no one knows what a checkbook is anymore.
I'm
It's
just
over.
wait, did I tell you about? I have a fun, a little story.
Yeah.
You know which test I'm talking about, okay? I had to take a test, several of them, but one of
Yeah.
the tests had like explanation or like they wanted to evaluate my ability to do certain stuff. So they were like, "Can you write a check to someone?" And I was like, "Fuck no." And they were like, "Wait, I don't think this is conclusive to the test because I think nobody writes
No
checks
one does
anymore."
checks anymore.
So they changed the question like, "Can you do a wire transfer?" I was like, yeah, I know how to do a wire
Yeah.
transfer. They were like, "Oh yeah, this is yes."
Yeah, you just reverse it, and they're like, can you fill in the checks? Like, can you PayPal somebody
Like,
€5?
who the
Fuck no, you can't. You guys are
who
useless.
the who the fuck, like they were like, who the fuck writes checks in 2024, bro? Holy fuck.
Do you know what's so funny to me is the save icon is still a floppy disk, as if anyone
Yeah,
has seen a floppy disk at any point for the last
I
10
have seen
years.
one.
Yeah?
I have seen one when I was 4. My father had floppy disk.
Yeah, but have you seen one in the last decade?
No, of course not. I think they went extinct. Like I have seen a VHS though.
Yeah. VHS is a classic.
Those are still
Do,
somewhat.
do you know a couple years ago we binned like 90% of my dad's VHSs? Do you know they expire? Like they go off, like the tape stops working?
Really? I
Yeah.
had no fucking clue.
Yeah, so half of those VHSs were like useless anyway. Okay,
Okay, let's
moving on.
go.
Units and mechanics. There are a few truly interesting units and mechanics. Much of what is offered has been seen better elsewhere. You're nodding.
I mean, I just agree. I've said this before. I don't think there's particular original design. I'm sorry. I thought there are some interesting designs. I kind of like the brute, for example.
Mhm.
But like if I think of abilities, I struggle to think abilities are just not a reskinned or reworked version of some other abilities, mostly StarCraft 2.
So,
Like
counterpoint,
I yeah.
I think everything has more or less been done. I think you'll
No, I
struggle to
thought so
not
too.
find something completely
Zero
original.
space BattleAces. Zero space.
But
Like
what's really original in BattleAces? There's like
well
fast melee units, slow
the
big melee
battle.
units.
No, I like the way certain units were like. I really like the sniper for BattleAces, for example. Unironically,
How is
I
that?
think,
How is that?
can you name me? Can you name me which unit copied?
I don't know which one it is because I don't know the unit names for
The sniper
battles.
is a like basically a walking. It's like some kind of artillery. It's artillery
But it
anti-artillery.
does really
You
long
can,
range single target
yeah,
damage.
yes, but it's very slow.
But isn't
It's
that the
basically
anti? Isn't that the anti siege weapon stuff from
I was
AOE?
yes, yeah, I was about to say it's a spray gun. If but that's even that was like a pretty innovative design in my opinion. So if you want to take the spray gun, no, not the spray
Springled,
gun, the spray gun,
springled.
Springgold, yes.
Yeah.
The Springgold in Age of Empires 4 was pretty interesting design. Now I hate playing with them, but that's because I'm bad at the game.
I don't know. To
But
me, the snipers are like a bit like ghosts, a bit like yeah,
no, not really,
springleds.
not really.
I mean, but
They
they.
don't really fulfill the same thing. They don't, no,
I
they
know,
don't
I
do
know,
the
but
same.
ghosts now do everything. So I think it's
Yeah, but
what
even no,
ghosts
even
could
like
be if ghosts weren't everything.
because the point of Ghost is like to break through casters and
Yeah,
durable
and
target. The point of
siege.
the sniper is the long range.
Okay,
Like it's
okay.
outranging stuff. Like specifically
No,
a
it's kind
counter
of
to
true.
stuff like
Yeah, ghosts aren't that
mortar
long range.
or heavy ballistas and stuff. Like ghosts aren't exactly like, you don't make ghost to
Yeah.
counter like something
Wait, so
that's
how are
really
they
high.
not? They're not just tempests then.
I think they're if you can call them a tempest, sure, but they are quite different. I think in the way they work.
Sure. What I will say is, we know from what Monk
Or
has
for
said.
example, Yeah.
We know from what Monk has said, he believes that you don't need super revolutionary units. You need relatively simple units that interact in interesting ways. And I don't
That
know that
is
I
true.
disagree with what he said at all, though.
No, I said this in the past. I completely agree, and I still agree to this point. I don't. That's what I said. I'm not necessarily passing a judgment. But I will say that every time like someone is laying, oh, like we like, I just want to counteract the narrative that this is some amazing revolutionary design that has been never seen before, because that is just not true.
Yeah, that's
Because I
not the
mean, like,
RTS they're making, I think.
but that is very easily provable, right? If we made a copy of StarCraft 2, right, that would be zero originality, but it will still be as fun as the original one because it's a copy of a game that works, right? So obviously, like, don't have to reinvent the wheel if it's not necessary. That's not what I'm saying. Just saying that specifically on the subject of innovation, they talked a lot about it, but some of the things I think like the most innovative thing that I personally consider was the way the map were designed with the camps and stuff, and the way interacted. Also, the destructible terrain was interesting because it was actually, I won't say it was the most interactive. It was the most. It wasn't the most interactive in incredibly interactive, but it was the most interactive in out of most games that I've seen. I think Stormgate had the one where you actually ended up using that interactable terrain, right? Like think about the Tyrio slash Albino build
Yep.
on
Yeah,
Jagged
yeah.
Maw, no, not Jagged Maw, sorry, Broken Crown Hinterland,
Yep.
or the Jagged Maw cheeses,
Yep.
or like the various things that you could do to like prevent walls off on the various maps that had the trees and stuff. So I think like that was the most interesting. But even the camps now they just changed it and now they're more similar to Zero Space. And I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not sure how that if that is
Yeah,
I think
I think that's
probably
going to be
healthier
one of the
for the
things that
game.
you can only play and feel, and you'll know how it feels when you play it, and you know how it feels.
But we'll never know how it could have been, right? If they kept
Yep.
the camps the same, right?
Yeah,
We'll
sure.
never know the other. So I don't know if that was a good choice or not. I'm not saying it's a bad one either. I'm genuinely don't know. Like it was one of those things that I could possibly pass a judgment on it unless I saw a
Yeah.
lot, like years of gameplay, and then in retrospect you can be like, no, actually, like this kind of
Put it
camp
back.
sucks dick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, put it
Okay.
back. Or
Next
I don't
point is
know.
monetization, and I'm gonna read this, but don't quote me. I don't believe this. The dubious monetization strategy of releasing the campaign in small portions rubs me the wrong way. Counterpoint. They released Wall, and then Heart of the Swarm, and then Legacy of the Void, and you paid $60 for each, and it's a long campaign, or you can just cut it into sixths and sell each sixth for $10. How is that different? How is that?
Counterpoint.
Yeah,
That's actually you're actually wrong. There
sure.
is a reason why Kova no, Kova Ops
Yeah,
was by far the worst received and the worst sold
yeah.
campaign on Blizzard terms. The problem with it is that you fundamentally misunderstand how campaign gamers think, in my opinion. Is
Okay,
most of
okay.
them like a cohesive feeling of progression.
hmm No, I
You
think that's
you
fair.
might be
Yeah.
like oh, can't you just like wait a year and then you have
No, no, no. I see
the
your
whole
point. It's
game?
like you play and then you get to the end of the thing, and it's like, oh, you
Yeah.
just unlocked the Marauder, and you're like, wow, I can't wait to play with the Marauder, and then you're like, in 2 weeks when they release the next chapter.
No, but it's gonna be more than 2 weeks. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
of course.
months.
Yep.
And also the story, right? Like, think about the story. Can you really like how are you gonna put the story? Are you gonna put it that every 3 missions there's a cliffhanger? But that's a fucking like that's cheap drama. That's like go watch Beautiful on TV for people who know what Beautiful is. By the way, is
Gotta
this a too
watch.
old of a reference?
Gotta watch Lost.
Do you know what? But Lost is a blast. Go watch Lost. It's a really good TV. I love Lost. Do you know what Beautiful is?
No, is it a telenovela or what?
Yeah, it's the ultimate soap opera. I think it has like my mother has been watching it for the past 25 years, unironically. And I've been watching it since I was a kid, not because I want to, but because like my mother controlled the TV when I came home from school. So every lunch in my life, from Monday to Friday, I would watch Beautiful with my mother.
Do you know when it first aired?
I would guess 75.
87.
Wow.
But apparently it's 21 minutes long in the US and 11 minutes long in Italy. So they're stealing 10 minutes of TV from you.
Wait, what? What is that supposed to
I
mean?
don't know. Also, I'm on Italian Wikipedia, which I can't really read, but yeah, we have some of these in the UK. There's one called The Archers. Shout out to The Archers. It's on the radio. That's how old it is, and it was after the war, and it's about farming. It was trying to get like, it was trying to reduce loneliness in farmers. And now every time I see my grandma, I just ask her what's been happening on The Archers lately. She tells me. It's good. I recommend it.
How old is it, bro?
Really old. I found out.
Holy fuck.
They did.
Yeah,
She
so
was complaining because they did like lockdown episodes. Oh my god! Original release 1st of January 1951.
boy, do I love me some post-war soap opera, bro.
Bro,
Do you think it has changed? Like, do you think it has become modernized and now there's like more representation and shit, for example? Or
well,
is it still back? Like, do you think they still make the same jokes that were acceptable in 51? Because hell, I want to listen to that. That still has the same accessibility rating of 1951, bro.
okay. I see where
Does
you're
it
going.
still use all of the bad words that we
It
cannot
doesn't
use
use the
on
bad
YouTube?
words. There's no mention of that guy's cat. No. Uh, no.
I hate that I know exactly what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
No, but they now have like bits where you can hear them like phoning people, and it sounds like they're talking. Like the other guy, you can hear through a phone. Do you know what I mean? They couldn't have done that in 1951. Don't
I
worry about
guess.
it. Okay, so
Anyway,
do you think are
I
are
will
you calling
say,
this
I will
dubious?
say,
I don't think it's a
no,
dubious
one
strategy.
second. I will say, even though I do disagree with you on the fact that it
Yeah,
is
no, I think that's
different.
fair. Yeah, I think you've got a fair point.
Like I disagree that on quality concern and like experience concern. I don't think the monetization is dubious at all. I think it's pretty. I think it was better than StarCraft actually, because StarCraft didn't even give you the prologue missions. The only campaign that did that was Legacy of the Void.
Legacy, but there were the Zeratul
Yeah.
missions, right?
What?
The prologue of the Zeratul missions in Legacy.
No. They
Are
are
they not?
just missions. No,
Oh,
you're still Artanis. I think at least. I mean, no, I'm pretty sure you're still Artanis. Now you're
I
making me
defer to
doubt
the
myself.
deferring to the campaign expert.
Subserian.
But if I'm right, put it
Subserian
in
is
the
gonna
comments
spawn.
and tell me I'm right. Okay.
I played that campaign a lot, but it's been a long time since I last played it. So,
Okay.
I don't find this dubious at all. So I think this is just bullshit, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think in any case, what I will say to round this off, it is what it is. It's the way it has to be. They need to start making money, and this is how much of the game is complete. So they're shipping the bit that is done. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think if you say we can sell this, or we could wait until we have no money in the bank, and then we won't finish the campaign, so we can't sell anything. It's like, okay, I guess, yeah, you have to do it.
I mean, it makes sense. I don't call it dubious.
Yeah.
Communication. The communication with the community is already poor, with misleading information
Oh, hang
regarding
on.
funding and questionable marketing strategy.
Hang on a sec. You've gone really roboty.
What?
You sound like a T-Pain. Sounds auto-tuned. Okay, try again now.
Wait, what? Hello?
I'm gonna have to clip this and
How
send it
has
to
it
you.
been?
But your internet is shitting the bed right now. Or mine is.
Is it mine? It is mine. It is absolutely mine. 375 ping.
Jesus.
What the actual fuck is going on?
Okay, it's fixed now.
Yeah, more. It says that it's fixed. Hopefully, it doesn't go
There we
down
go.
again.
I think that's the first time that's happened in like quite a few hours of podcast. So fair play.
Yeah, we got Italian internet held up good until now. Communication. The communication with the community is already poor, with misleading information regarding funding and a questionable marketing strategy. Next generation RT. At least when it comes to communication, it feels already like a fully fledged Blizzard experience. I mean, it's got a point. I
winky
agree with
smiley
this.
face at the end.
I mean, this is just true. Communication has been terrible. Work on it. I have even more issues than this guy, actually. I know a lot more about the communication. I have to watch the other infinite hours of me complaining about poor communication, feedback threads, about roadmaps and vision and Kickstarters and everything. Like,
Yeah, I think
holy
it's
fuck.
difficult when you're trying to market, which inherently means putting your best face on, putting your best foot forward, versus making sure people don't feel like they're being deceived. And this guy at
I think
least
it's
clearly
a
feels like he's being deceived.
I think it's a fine line, but I will say that regardless, I think they have auto goal there. Like, even if you want to make your game look good, I think sometimes they were like stuff that was missing. There was just no reason to. Like, it didn't make the game look worse. It actually made it look better. It just wasn't communicated properly or made clear properly, in my opinion. And I feel like it would have changed absolutely nothing if it was communicated better from the start. Like, it wouldn't have affected the thing one bit. Like, it's like some other would have affected. Some other, like, I do think had an effect, and I am very scorned about the way they handle certain things. But like other stuff, I don't think there was actually anything wrong. I just think it was poor communication.
Yeah, I think so. Last point,
Esports.
esports. Esports tournaments are already being announced, even though the game hasn't entered early access yet. Esports should evolve naturally. Now, they have said they want esports to evolve naturally. They've already put out the grassroots license thing. So, that's for if you want to organize a tournament of your own. What I will say is esports tournaments are already being announced. And I talked to Bossa about this. They're not really. These are not real esports tournaments. These are invitationals, and so people were kind of griping a little bit about some of the people that had been invited. It's an invitational, so you can't really complain about it. I will say there have been some things already. Obviously, I can't ignore like EGC, which didn't go that well. There's a few things that they're kind of pushing for and kind of and are kind of leaning into. I would say the one I'm thinking of, let me Google it really quick. I'm pretty sure it's public. Don't want to leak anything.
If we get
Um,
cancelled, you know whose fault it is.
Let me check. Adiko has a video about it from 4 days ago, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Shout out to
sure.
Adico.
Okay,
Shout out to
it's
Adico.
okay. Yeah, no, it is open. So it's on Wikipedia. So and actually, on Wikipedia, it is marked as a show match. So these are not what you're seeing from Frost Giant are not here's a tournament. It's not EGC where it's like we're going to do a qualifier and everyone can sign up and play at the highest level. It's not that. It's an invitational because they're trying to showcase the game. It's another form of advertising. I think I got away
Yeah.
without leaking anything. So I agree that esports should evolve naturally, and that seems to be what they're aiming for. And in part, that's because they don't have a huge amount of budget to put towards massive tournaments. All of the things that they have done, I think the biggest things have been like EGC, which again was paid for mostly by EGC, I'm almost certain. So while I agree with this guy in terms of esports should evolve naturally, I disagree that they are doing anything weird when it comes to esports at this point.
I disagree with you actually on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's bad. I don't like it at all. I think RTS has already a problem with being a old school, a old boys club. Shout out to a nondescript famous streamer for that description of StarCraft 2 back in the 2012, I think. No, but I feel like these show matches, I don't know. Like, yeah, maybe they're good for publicity stunt, but I think they actually hinder growth. Because as like, if you're an aspiring pro gamer, if you are not Clem, if you're not, no offense to Clem, obviously, I love the guy. If you're not actually, let's call out Riccardo Romiti. If you're not trainer, I can call some out by name, so it doesn't. I know will not kill me. Actually, he's the only one that might kill me. He's the only one that has somewhat close to me.
Means and motive, yeah.
Uh, yeah, I feel like these things hinder growth because it's just like, okay, why would I even bother, right? Like, one of the things that was really exciting about ECG, for example, or the Zero Space was like anyone can make.
Mm-hmm.
Snogstar could make it. Snogstar, someone who had access to the game 1 week before.
Yeah,
If you are
relatively late.
determined,
Yeah. He played a lot.
Snogstar, no offense to Snogstar, who I think is a goated gamer, especially as Stormgate, but he's not exactly a StarCraft 2 pro gamer. I think he wouldn't have any issue with saying that he's
We can be
at least 2
generous and
steps
say
below.
he's semi-pro. We can be generous and say that. Be nice.
He's semi,
Shit
bro.
sandwich. Shit sandwich.
No, I mean, I love, bro. Snogstar knows I love him. I'm not sure if I would if I will put him, with the
do you know what team he's signed to?
Aftermath, no?
Yeah, okay. I didn't know.
Let's
I
check
thought he was
his
on a different
rating.
team before.
Okay, if his rating is not like at least 500 MMR above me, I won't call him a semi. Let's see his pick.
I am gonna say
is 6K. I'm sorry, bro. You're not a semi, bro, with 6K. I'm sorry, bro.
I'm gonna say Polska Gorom, and I think
Polska Gurom always.
You can be whatever you want to be, and I look forward to.
No, I love it.
So
I love
it. This is what I was talking about with Bossa. I agree, but I think all of those sorts of things are really expensive and time-consuming, and all of which time is money.
I'm not so sure about it.
Because EGC was such a nightmare with so many technical difficulties. You have to imagine that they were working giga overtime to try and sweat through all of that.
Yeah, but I think that had more to do with certain things like the site.
Yeah, of course.
Front end.
That's all part of it, right?
Front end, because the back end was challenged, not working properly. And, that things to do with miscommunication. That things with the game going down. If you remember, in the middle of of the tournament, at one point, there is a full video somewhere of me discussing HEG and how nightmare it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I actually recently had the chance to discuss with one of the top guys at HG, I think. Someone called Chom. I think is one of the top. Genuinely, from what I understood, is like an important figure, some kind of admin or something. And we were talking about this, and right, like, made me understand. I was like a bit more to the table, right? And that's what I also got. By the end of it, it was clear to me, in my opinion, that ECG was only very partially responsible for some of the things that happened.
EGC, by the way, not ECG.
Oh, EGC, fuck.
ECG is an echocardiogram. It's that thing with the heart monitor beep.
I know. Anyway, I
think this is only. I'm happy to agree to disagree on this one. I think basically it's a show match. They are gonna try and poach StarCraft people by saying, "Look, it's Clem, it's Eliza, flashing lights. It's names you recognize."
I don't disagree. It's a bad marketing move. I think it's once again a marketing move.
Yeah.
It's damaging the game for publicity.
Okay, I don't think
I always disliked it. Yes, I do.
What I will say is, I think in many ways they're trying to show off quite the level of skill expression that you can have in the game, and I think in that way some people may find it inspiring. Like when you watch like a Serral or a Reina play, and you're like, "This is just crazy." Like that's such high level. I think that can. But
not only that. For example, right? The other problem that I have with it is that this is inherently makes it very political. Political in the sense that, for example, let's suppose it's not true, but let's make an hypothetical situation. Let's suppose that the number one player was me, or the number one player, whoever it was, had very vocal opinions about the game.
Definitely a hypothetical.
Yeah, that were not because I've been a top player in BattleAces or Zero Space, right?
Yeah.
Where I've competed and stuff. So then it creates a question, right? If I'm a very good player and I just shit talk the game non-stop, will I be invited to a show match? That's the other thing, right? Like, what kind of the other thing you have to think about? Right? Show matches are more about who you know. Because you might be like, okay, well, they're going to get the pro players, but I'm not sure it will necessarily be like that. I will have to wait to see the full list. But I will be surprised if some very good players of Stormgate don't get invited. At least some of them. So maybe not as well known as other ones.
The tasteless one is only 8 people. So it's already impossible that they invite all of the names that you think of. But me and Bossa wrote a list, and we were.
At least of a couple. I think at least of a couple games, names that are completely unknown outside of certain specific.
So I was talking to Bossa, and I agree with him. I think Bossa in a qualifier has a really good chance of qualifying. And I think he said Night Phoenix as well, just to name names, is someone who he thought had a
Yeah,
really good chance of qualifying. No, I don't agree. I'm
yeah.
just saying it's not a competition, so don't treat it as a competition. My response to this guy in the Reddit post is not you're wrong about about the esports point. It's to say this isn't esports. It's, I don't know,
No, but
different.
I do think still that he has a point because this is the budget for esport art. This is the organization for esport. This is the model for esport. All of these are resources and time and things that are taken away. If it is so complicated to create a tournament, surely it won't be any easier after you already dumped a bunch of budget and a bunch of things in non-relating things, right? Like, so even by that metric, I would still disagree with you.
I think
So I will say,
neither
well,
of us
it's
know the full extent of how expensive it is to run a full
that is
tournament,
true. That is true.
so we can't really comment. I would.
No, but
I'm
regardless of
speculating.
budget, I'm
I think
talking about just
I think a
difficulty,
full
right?
tournament is going to be way more expensive than what they plan for this. Let's move on. I'm going to pick the next one. It's on the screen now.
I mean,
And
you
then
put too many negative ones in a row, bro.
I'm trying to. It's a shit sandwich. You have to put all the negative in the middle, so you got tasty bread on the end.
Okay.
This has
Um,
0 upvotes, by the way, and 98
and,
comments.
another 0. Oh no, the campaign one has 17 upvotes, by the way.
Huge, absolutely stonks.
Okay, let's talk. Do you want? I'll read this one
You
because
read
you
this
read
one.
the
I did the
last
last one
one.
mostly.
Yeah, 1 second. Okay, I'm back. Can we have an honest discussion about the state of the game? Lots of us who are still here like the game. That's just a fact, or we won't stick around. But looking at the numbers, you can't deny the fact that the interest from announcement to now has dwindled. Players got their hopes up, and they weren't met. Not yet, at least. My question for you now is what needs to change for this game to be as big as possible? Let this thread be open and honest feedback for the devs to reflect on. Don't mince words. Mods, please don't remove the post. These types of discussions are important for growth and overall the health of the game. Now, you might notice a slight discrepancy between the number of upvotes and the number of comments on this
Yeah,
thread.
it's 0 to 98.
Yes, this is what we call
It's
um
it's probably below 0 as well. By the way, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't show if it was in the negatives. But it's very unlikely
yeah.
that the number of upvotes and downvotes are exactly equal. But the first thing I want to point out is that this guy's username finishes with DK, so it's clearly David Kim on a burner account.
No.
No, what I really want to say is there's a few things I want to say. This one's pretty dense, actually, in terms of content per sentence. Firstly, yeah, loads of people on the subreddit like the game. I think it's undeniable to say that there is a contingent of haters. I think they're the minority, so I'm not trying to say like, if the game doesn't do well, it's because of all the haters. It's like, can't be real. There's not that many haters, but there are some. I think that's undeniable, and I think a large portion of what I do see on the subreddit is negative. To skip to the end of the post, because it relates to what I just said. Mods, please don't remove this post. I don't know that I've seen many posts get deleted. Generally,
Yeah, I think that one is a bit.
it's like,
I mean,
don't victimize me. It's like, bro, you're making a victim out of yourself right now. It's like I don't know that I don't. I mean, the irony is that if they did delete loads of posts, I wouldn't see them, right? Because they'd be deleted. But generally, I do see
no,
a
but you
good
would know
number
about
of
it. You
I
would
see a
of
good
critical,
number of
very
negative
critical
posts.
post. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be like, I've literally never seen a
Okay.
negative post on this subreddit.
What I wanted to highlight with this is not necessarily the discussion itself, which I found, to say, surface level
I have
would be
another
an
thought, but
understatement.
I'm interested to see if you say what I'm about to say. Yeah.
I actually, if you read the comments,
Yeah.
a lot of them are really, really positive.
Yeah.
So and then you have the other side too. So what I discussed, I found this interesting, is that there were a lot of opinions that were all right, and this didn't evolve into a shit show, and a lot of people were positive about it, but the thread got downvoted to hell and back. So I want to highlight specifically some of the response. I will shout out the names because I don't want to take credit for it. Mulefish, for example, says, realistically, the single player campaign and the cadence and quality of the early release update content pipeline is the most important things to it at this stage. And I agree with this. So already we have a pretty good, like an actual honest discussion. Let's be honest. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what is gonna make or break it? Like, we have talked like blah 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 blah. Okay, no matter how many problems the game has, if it can be fixed quite frequently and if it can fix soon, and the quality of the product at the launch is gonna be good, that certainly smiles upon success. But on the other hand, we have an opinion like something like this. I feel like the only mistake they've made is getting the community involved so early on. The Reddit community just can't handle it. This is from Bionic Giblet, by the way. I think Frost Giant underestimated how negative the community can be. Regardless, they're gonna make the game they want and have not seemingly made any dramatic changes based on community feedback. I think they would have been better off announcing and developing hype closer to release. I already bought the game and I will support them and see what happens. I still believe it will be a great game. This just feels kind of like a social experiment that didn't work out in their favor. I don't like this comment. I think this is a very, very, very what's the word? No, not copium. Like it's when someone says something stupid and you express like the best. It's like still mannering, but how do you say it? It's a very way of saying it. It's a
I don't know. I was going to say the last point he said, which is they would have been better off building hype closer to the time. The middle sentence of the original post is players got their hopes up and they weren't met, not yet at least. I think that's completely fair. I think when you consider like the life cycle of the run of like basically it's marketing, so the marketing run for this game, it's been like close to 2 years probably since we started hearing rumors of the game, and then we were playing it a year ago maybe. So like it's been a long time coming, and it probably would have been better if more like BattleAces. BattleAces, there were rumors or something that David Kim had a game, but there wasn't a website you could go and see anything on. The website for ages, but the website for ages was just the little robots. Like they just have little robot kind of pictures on a art background.
In fact, they managed to hide the deck building aspect up until the very end, which I found. And when they asked, this one the reason why I didn't speak about it, because I was told to not speak about the deck building aspect of the game before it was released, and I didn't think I could make a serious case for the game or talk seriously about it while omitting such an important information, so I just said nothing. There were obviously legitimate reasons for enforcing an NDA. I'm not accusing them of censoring. Clearly, they had that thing in mind and they wanted like it to be at the proper time, which is fair. I just am expressing what happened then. The reason why I don't think this comment is famous is because I think it's too overly sympathetic. Once again,
agree with that,
I think they made a lot of expectation. They made their hype run. They have to deliver. You don't get to choose like, oh, the only mistake is that they made too much hype at the start. Yeah, that's why so many people bought in the game. That's why so many people are invested in this.
I think the hype is just mistimed, basically.
Yeah, like
it's too much of it, or I don't think it's just mistimed. I think it's mistimed and other things.
And the same thing. This is someone that this is, I think, the best comment out of everything. Not because I completely agree with it, but because I think it's very well structured and well made. By someone called Splin with 2 hands. Shout out to Splin. I was really excited for this, and my excitement has dwindled substantially over the year. So I guess I'm kind of the person this thread is saying. I will skip a bit of random stuff that is not relevant. But the problem is that a ton of my issues are intangible. Angels Demons just doesn't talk. A 4th alien faction would go a long way to build interest for me. But I also don't think that's a good idea for the game. When I played it, I just didn't have that much fun. It felt a little frustrating and there was no wow factor. The concept all made sense, but it just didn't feel good to play. I don't know why. Maybe the full release and single player and fully fleshed out tutorial will help. I don't dislike the art style, but I do dislike the faction choices. Now that I'm writing this out, I think it all just felt so sterile. Like it was so dry and serious. The game should always also be fun to watch. I've tried watching Stormgate and it's also boring. I'm not an RTS neophyte, I understand the genre, but the matches I've seen were also very uninteresting. Maybe I just had some bad luck though. So feel free to respond with some game links if there is a series that really captures what this game is capable of strategically. I like the slower fights, and that was one of my wants for SC2. But slower should increase tension. I don't feel that tension with Storm. this is I cut up some parts, but you can find the original comment in the thread. Obviously, it was a bit too long. I couldn't just read this whole thing. Copyright strike and stuff. And a lot of people agreed. There's a lot of upvote and public testimonies. What I find interesting to this is that he says he has no clue about this, but in my opinion, he nailed it. In my opinion, he nailed it. I think that's the honest discussion about the state of the game. Some people don't like it, and it's fine. That's fine. Some people don't like it. I think the game is not for everyone. I think they've taken strong decisions that are very contrary to some of the things that people were hyping them up for. This is not StarCraft 3. It never was, it never will be. The slower time to kill is a killjoy. The game is slow. It's, in my opinion, in fact, surprisingly even slower than Age of Empires 4, unironically. While the game technically goes on faster and the average game length is also shorter, I just feel like there's more to do in Age of Empires 4. Age of Empires 4 compensated slowness with the fight with like a pretty active macro and like complicated decisions. Stormgate just simplifies it without anything else to add. You can have your own opinion, you can say Lorimbo, I actually like that about the game, that's completely fair. But to pretend, and this is what pisses me off, in the honest discussion, no one is bringing this up. This guy is the only comment I could see that brought up how the game just doesn't map out to the other RT. How the game takes a somewhat different approaches in times. I've explained before, I think I made in this very video, I've talked about time to kill and fast action RTS. My favorite acronym. This is why I like these things. I think I like the discussion that were behind it. A lot of like hyper positivity and stuff. Some I think reasonable positivity to it, and some people just didn't like the game, which I also think is fair. Some people just like the game and thought that people were being too negative. But I think like pretending that just Reddit is overly negative, or pretending that there's like this kind of conspiracy of being, there are absolutely people that have the dumbest opinion ever.
Yeah. One thing I
Actually,
was going to
I
say
don't.
is I think the subreddit as well is also overly positive. I think while there are a lot of blind haters, there are also a huge number of people who are just blindly positive and just completely
Yeah.
faithful. So it's like they're in probably approximately equal numbers, maybe leaning
Yes.
towards the toxic positivity side.
Should I name names, HaRT,
No, please
of
don't, because
people
I'll have
that
to
are
edit them out.
no, but wait, even if it's this too.
I know who you're typing. Ready? No, don't.
Wow, you are such a King Art non-stop. Make sure to like randomly DM him. Oh no, okay, I like your reasoning. Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
I don't want to give.
Free press to
I don't
absolute.
want to give free press, or I don't want to give morons more attention. It's the only thing they
Yeah,
want is more attention.
free press to absolute jokesters,
Yeah,
absolute clowns. But let's say that for every person that overhypedly, no, that's not true. For some person for some people that blindly overhypes the game, there are absolute dumb fucks that say the dumbest shit ever and go on and on and on and on and on. And I hate them because they make me look worse. I have to be fucking put on with
yeah,
these guys that don't get like, they cannot distinguish between if there is something
yeah,
good. They're not honest. They don't talk about the positive. They don't talk about the fact, oh, this I actually liked. Like if the campaign is good and I like it, I will say I like the campaign.
yeah,
I don't like Frost Giant. Frost Giant really doesn't like me, I think. But if the product is good, I won't lie to them. I've
yeah.
changed my mind on things. I will be the biggest glacier ever. Make a great game, I'll fucking suck. I can't say anything. You cannot say anything anymore. Holy fuck.
I mean, the irony is it's normally the other way around, right? It's normally normally game studios helping you out. No, anyway, yeah, I think there's a lesson here about online communities and
Yeah.
how quickly they can devolve. I think, unfortunately for Stormgate, it inherited a lot of problems from the StarCraft community. The StarCraft community, I'm sorry, lads, fucking blows for the most part. And it's unfortunate, but this is why you just
And
ignore ignore
Another
as many people
interesting
as you
thing,
can.
actually. No, another interesting thing, because you brought that up, actually, you bring up as much. Stormgate has inherited all of the shit people say on StarCraft.
Yep.
It has inherited the complete inability of having balance wine with critical discussion. This is so wild to me. You know why people hate balance wine in StarCraft 2? Why that has developed such a bad concept? Because people that balance wine in StarCraft 2 mostly, they are so far deep. I balance one a lot for full context. I'm the biggest balance winer I know. And the biggest balance winer HaRT knows. And HaRT knows some. Yeah. But I don't have any problem admitting, this mechanics that Zergas is very frustrating. This thing that Zergas is insanely frustrating. Yes, we should nerf this. Maybe we can shift the power in some other days. Yes, Zerg is oppressive at the top level. Maybe that is something we should be concerned about. There is no of that in Star. It's insane to me. Like in StarCraft, if you are Team Zerg, you only have to be like, if you want to be like, blah, 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 this is we see like the Protoss won X tournament. If you are Team Protoss, you cannot bring up the fact that statistical number ones of a single player over premier tournament is a completely irrelevant statistic to the health of a game. If you are Team Zerg, you have to bring up the ratios in GMs and say that is somehow a more statistically. You just have to lie. It doesn't matter what the truth is. You just lie for whatever your faction is. And the same thing applies to Stormgate. You cannot have discussions. You cannot have fucking discussions without it evolving into a team sport. Notice, go back, read every single one of my threads, every single one of my product content. That is not me raging at them thing. And tell me if there is a single post that even suggests, we should just blanket nerf faction because it's too overpowered. Fucking try it. Have serious discussion. Oh my fucking god, it's like sports sim. It's fucking ridiculous, bro. In Stormgate, it was no matter what. Infernal has a 60% win rate. Nerf Infernal. Vanguard has a 60% win rate. Actually, it was final when it wasn't a problem with Infernal. The players are better. When Infernal had 60% win rate, it wasn't a problem. Completely the win rate for Infernal was actually 60% at the start. And then over the course of the game, it will drop to below 40 if the game lasts more than No, we just ignore that. We just take the complementary.
Was one of the really interesting things from the like timeline graph that they had on Stormgate World.
And the lack of statistics, that's what another thing I'm worried about with the new site and the lack of statistics. Those statistics were useful because they proved that discussions such as Infernal or Vanguard are not OP. They are races that at the moment are very one-minded, right? Like Infernal at the all in, and then Vanguard at the ball, and then it turned into the opposite where Infernal just has to death ball to get to the late game, but they have no potential for attack, and Vanguard just starts hyper attacks. And the fact that to this day, and this is the same thing with StarCraft, people refuse to admit that the races have to be more complex than you have to do one thing or one other thing, and that designing a race to be like the defensive race is terrible. Design should never be in the game. We cannot talk about this as long as we spam info P, Vanguard P, Vanguard P. God knows how much I balance whined about Vanguard, about how fucking broken it was, about how bullshit it was, how many tools they had that were so fucking bullshit. I also balance one equally as much about the Doombringer. Is it not true?
Yeah. No, you were like, I refuse to play it, and I'm gonna lose 500 rating points, but I'm not playing it.
Because it's broken. Like, and that's the other thing.
It's so broken. It was insane. And I would be in calls giggle whining about it, saying this thing fucking sucks, and then you say, "Well, I'm not gonna make it." Yeah,
I'm not gonna make it. No, because it sucks. I'm not gonna ruin the game for everyone, like in a fucking alpha test, because I want more imaginary internet points. Like this made me realize actually I had such a black pilling thought. I think I've already told you before. People will do literally anything to win points. Like I made me think about. Let's think about this thought experiment. We're a bit diverging, but this actually I want this to be.
We're not diverging at all because this is mid Reddit episode where the entire point of Reddit is pointless internet points for clout.
Yeah. Yes.
This is exactly on topic.
So true. So let's suppose that there was a button. You spawn in, like you play one race. Let's say Infernal, so it doesn't look like I'm balance running about race because I'm not. This is actually a thought experiment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a you spawn in as Infernal, and you have a button at the edge of the screen that tells you win the game. You click the button, you win the game instantly, no questions asked. Obviously, this is overpowered, this is imbalanced, this is terrible, obviously, right? How many people will click the button? How often is the question? I know what you're gonna say. I'm gonna stop you right there. I was like, nah, come on, bro. Like, surely no one would
The context of it
press
being
the
an
button.
alpha game, like it's alpha, so nothing's figured out. It's a for fun game. There's no money. There's like the points don't mean
Yeah,
anything.
but we're not talking about a tournament. We're talking
Yeah.
about ladder.
Why would you put?
Yeah,
Why would you click the button? It doesn't. It does nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
like my point is like my previous point was like, come on, surely no one is gonna click. Like, what's the point? You are here to play the game. Like, if you want an imaginary point, just get boosted or something. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
it's just weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, to do
But
what? Like, the imaginary entry points don't help you, and so on and so forth. Like, so,
yeah.
and I was convinced of this. I was like, yeah, like no one is gonna press it. Most people are not gonna press it. The only people are gonna be pressing it are people that enjoy making it actually miserable for. Like, they were the purpose is not playing the game, but like making it miserable for other
Cyberbullying.
players.
Yeah.
Basically, right? So actually, in a game like this, I would still expect the top ranked to be more or less the normal distribution. Because I feel like people just like there is no point in doing that, or like the eventual troll that just clicks it every single game, obviously on purpose to like ruin it for everyone else. But that I accounted for that. What I did not expect though was one for this to actually happen, somewhat, and two, like how much I don't know weird, like how much what do you call it? Mental gymnastic people will do in order to convince themselves to press the button. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Not really. But I will say, here's one thing I got really annoyed about. Not really annoyed, and I won't name names. But I played a guy on ladder, and we played like 3 games, and they were good, but I won. And then the fourth game, and I'm like, cool, I'm pretty confident in this game. And I just played standard, I played normal. And then I got farm rushed, and he just spammed a load of farms on my base, and then he won. And I was like, I thought you were one of the good ones. Because we've been laddering, and we played a few, and they were fun games. I mean, at least for me, maybe not fun for him because he wasn't winning, but they were fun games for me. And then I wrote in the chat, like, I thought you were one of the good ones. And it's not that my opening was greedy, it's that Farm Rush was Giga Imba. And I was like, I mean, like, I guess if he's not having fun, then I can't blame him for, like, opting out of playing the game. But it
I
felt bad
can.
because I was like,
I can and I will. I can and I will. I can and I will. I was talking about two things: farm rushing and jugged Mo on Celeste.
mhm,
Okay, I'm gonna start with farm rushing because I think it's the least serious of this. Not because of its infernal, but because it didn't touch and it didn't have a 99% win rate. Right?
mhm.
It was incredibly overpowered, very oppressive, and if you played it, cringe. And it was essentially that. Oh, do you want to completely like keep
Yeah.
the game
Is the
just
game
to get
over
points?
because you've decided it is? Click this button.
Like some of my friends, I know at least one of my friends only played Farm Rush, and I will still say this: this is cringe. He knows who he is. He knows who he is. You can try to guess, HaRT, but you will know. You will know. Regardless, no. He would
Who am
no.
I
This
thinking
is
of? Oh, okay, okay.
no. That person would never do something like that. That person
Okay, okay.
actually tries to enjoy the game.
I didn't know what he was playing when he was playing Celestial. Yeah.
Okay, so for for mid farming rush, that was already very weak. Like I was surprised by how prevalent the build become, but why? You can say you beat mana with it. Congrats. With like
The irony of the build as well is that it spawns units that you cannot control. Like they're
Yeah,
literally the computer just does. So
you
you can't even be
if you
like,
don't know.
I fucking got him. I microed my cannons to shoot the right thing. It's like no, you literally just make buildings and then you can walk away from the computer and they keep going. So it's like,
Yeah,
what are you even flexing at that point?
yes, unironically, the game was very easy to do, incredibly powerful, and more importantly, you literally couldn't play it. As in, you didn't do anything. You weren't targeting, you weren't magging, you weren't doing anything with it. Okay, and a lot of people played it, and people were spamming it, and were doing it over and over and over, and in their mind, they were justifying it. We're not talking about tournament, where even for that, there were money involved, so I'm like, okay, sure, you want the money, you're gonna abuse. I think it's a bit cringe, but I think it's still somewhat fair.
I played it
No,
in
this is just
some for
ladder.
fun tournaments. Put my hands up. I
Like,
did. But yeah, it makes no sense to me.
and then we have the more serious Celestial on Juggernaut. Okay, for people who don't know, the reason why Juggernaut got removed as a map is because Celestial could literally, I'm not kidding, I'm not being hyperbolic, win every single game by just against Infernal by going across the map. There was no counterplay, there was no amount of skill that would save you. I'm not being hyperbolic. We had top players play against very mediocre or like normal players, just losing 20 times in a row, 10 times in a row. It had nothing to do with actually, the build being overpowered, as in, but still playable around it. It was just basically
Yeah.
a check.
Yeah.
It's like starting the game with a battle cruiser on top of your enemy base. Like, so I was like, surely people are not gonna do. No, people spammed it every single time, and the mental gymnastics they went through. Celestial is underpowered, so I'm gonna play these two combos. What? What are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about?
So
Your race is
here's my thought.
underpowered, so you're gonna take a free win when you get one? Like, are you
Yeah.
gonna drop pack too? Because, like, I mean, you could use the same logic to
But it's
justify
like,
anything.
if the race being underpowered bothers you so much, play a different race, to be honest.
Or complain. No, that's a bad thing. Complain
Well,
about it.
but
Talk
this is
about it.
the patch where they said this is the release where they said
Oh,
they
they were,
weren't
yeah,
patching,
yeah.
right? So the complaining obviously is going to do stuff between releases, but
Also,
not
the complaining, to be
within that.
clear, was completely bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know that Celestials was that weak.
Sasha was completely fine. You can look at the ladder to see the results. In fact, some people might even call it a tad too strong.
So I haven't
Anyway,
switched the screen over yet, but I put another post up. Do you want to talk about this one? We are approaching 2 hours rapidly, so we can talk about it if you want, or we can skip it.
No. We let me see. I think we can talk about it, but only point 1 and 2.
Okay,
Are
it's on
interesting.
screen now. There you go. Am I reading this one? I'll read this one.
Yeah.
The four mistakes
No, actually, read all of them, not only the
that
first
make
one.
SC2 design so brutal and should probably not be made for the next RTS to succeed. Number 1, AoE damage that annihilates any unit if one connect, and that can be duplicate X infinite. EX10 High Templar have 20 Storm. Well, that's not quite how Storm works, but fair
Just
point.
go on. Just go. Please go on.
2, less unit by race, 15 actually per race, which each at least one spell. One way can be done by splitting race. Example given: Overmind Zerg, Muta Zergling Banes, Brutalisk, or Kerrigan Zerg, Viper Corruptor Lurker. To know more which build up can be prepared. If units must be added for selling expansion prioritized news races. I am reading this verbatim, I'm sorry, I haven't read it before, but hopefully that's not completely undecipherable to everyone at home. 3, game speed should be lowered to see more the speed of the player and not just be outplayed by the speed of the game itself. 4, don't turn game concept and reworking every 6 months. Do minor adjustments like changing unit stats. Don't change too much the maps. Prioritize reshaping them if some cliffs make problems.
Okay.
Why did you send me this?
This is because this is the most asinine take I've managed to find.
Okay, good.
This is like the worst of Reddit.
Talk
the
about
worst
it
of
quick
Stormgate
then, because
Reddit. Okay.
we're already at 2
First off,
hours.
if you are the writer of this, be ashamed. Consider switching to FPS. Consider go play Minecraft. No, I'm too toxic. This is
Way too
okay.
toxic.
Let's
Thank you for your
let's actually
valuable contribution to r/Stormgate. First point: AoE damage that annihilates unit if one connect and can be duplicated infinite times.
yes.
Storm, as far as
This
I
is
know,
what
doesn't kill many
doesn't
units,
stack.
and it
Well, now
doesn't
it does.
stack. Yeah,
Now it does. Now it does like
but
in Zerg. Now it's overpowered.
well, it doesn't kill one Baneling with one Storm. But
It does.
are you sure?
That's the problem. Yes.
I don't think it does. I'm sure everyone was telling me
Yes.
that it doesn't. I'm gonna
No, it
fact check,
does.
but okay.
I'm pretty like I've played quite a bit of Z with P right now, and it feels like they fucking one shots the bit. Okay, we are gonna check anyway.
I'm
Let's
fact
go
checking
on.
you on this one.
Yeah. So let's make a better example that is not the storm, which does a better example. Let's make
Well,
an
Storm
example
is a
that
bad example, but you could say like tanks will stack splash damage.
I was thinking
Mines
Disruptor of
stack.
Banelings. Mines,
Disruptor's
Disruptor
one
of
shot most
Banelings.
things, but yeah, Banelings is a really good one.
Yeah. But so what's the problem with this? This is something I kept hearing. No. The only problem with StarCraft 2 is that there is too much splash damage. And so on and so forth and on and so forth. I kept hearing this. I've heard it from Loco, actually. It's kind of these people who say this, in my opinion, have not played a game in which there is no splash damage. Actually, like I am convinced of this. I'm convinced they have not seen the proposed solution of reducing splash damage. The reason why splash damage is so important is because no matter how well you design your game, if you don't have splash damage, that balling and defending advantage is really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah. We saw it already in Stormgate with the
We saw
hard
it in
thing where you would
Stormgate.
have like a million what are they called, fiends, and then you just aim with everyone because it's before they could get any splash out.
Absolutely. Or then we saw, for example, in Zero Space, we had the mass marine meta at one point, where you would just one base marine and bastion over and over and over again, and there was no way of killing these units because there was no you couldn't punish the fact that it was playing a big blob of units, even with good things. There was some AoE, like the fucking what's it called, the Ravager bar, which has another name, but it's definitely not exactly the most reliable AoE. No, AoE is necessary. You can argue that maybe some AoE in StarCraft is too concentrated on one race, as in Protoss relies too much on their slow casters instead of having, for example, a more Colossi based or something like that, but or mines or tanks or whatever. But to say that the problem is that can be too complicated and that it annihilates units, that this is in my opinion, an asinine takes. A game that doesn't have this will be a camp fest.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the problem that Stormgate had.
You can say that it's very punishing. I took an awful Widowmine shot yesterday and I wanted to die. So
Yeah.
I think there's a level that's over punishing, and I think Widowmine's storms to me don't walk that line. Disruptors don't walk that line. So, fix those, but yeah, AoE needs to be in there.
There is definitely no, absolutely. There is definitely an argument to be had. Is this AoE too toxic for the game? Is it too punish? Is it too hard to play around? Does it have little counterplay? I've infamously always hated disruptors because I think their counterplay is very dumb to them. How it would require a very high tech or to just split Omega lol. Like you cannot even pre-split because of the way their unit works, or even against Terran, and so on and so forth. There are definitely criticisms you can make about the game, but he's not complaining about specific iteration. And out of those iterations, I actually think Storm, well, right now is a bit too overpowered.
Yeah.
But that is due to changes
Generally,
to other units, not because of design. I think Storm was one of the least toxic ones. So I just took a terrible example. Secondly, let's unit by race. I think this is the one of the I think is the least bad of these 4 points because I think this is a matter of taste. Ultimately, what I will say is that splitting race that's not happening.
Well, the irony is that it's almost reminiscent of BattleAces deck building a little bit, where it's like pick units to bring. I don't think that there are too many units already in Stormgate though.
I think I think there
Like, I
are too
don't feel
few.
like there's an
Actually.
Yeah, that would be my feeling. I
I
don't think
think
there's
there
like
are
an
like
unmanageable number of units. So I'm like, I've never seen that
no, but
before.
the difference I will always say is Zero Space has 10 units and it feels like 25. StarCraft has 25 units and it feels like 10.
Yeah,
Because you actually get to make almost every single Zero Space unit
yeah, yeah.
in a
Well,
single game.
yeah,
But in
and
StarCraft, you are hyper specialized.
yeah, and then
So
I've seen people on Reddit say like, Reapers need to be buffed. You only ever see one Reaper a game, and I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. You, the Reaper has a specific role. You make one a game in most cases. It does its job and then it dies. You don't want to see mass Reaper. They shouldn't. Not every unit gets to be in every stage of the game. This is genuinely
yeah,
conversation I've had on Reddit, so don't go on Reddit. Game speed should be lowered to see more the speed of the player and not just be outplayed by the speed of the game. This is directly inverse. If the game is slower, then you have to play slower. So being able to play faster doesn't give you as many advantages.
no. I'll tell you what this is happening. You are misinterpreting it. This is
Okay.
literally a skill issue. What he's saying is that the speed of the game is, as in the speed like Bailing's move, is so fast that no player can actually express properly the skill
Okay.
because the game is too fast. Like in other words, he would have a perfect split if only Bailings were 50% slower.
Yes. Me too.
Yes, and my answer to this is no shit. No, it shouldn't be lower. I think StarCraft 2 is not even as fast as you think it is. I really don't think it's as fast as you think it is. I don't want to say skill issue because everyone has their own skill, but realize that every time you lower the speed, you run more into the problems where you're like, there is very little differentiation. A game that had lower speed was BattleAces, and we saw people that were not that great at other RTS games compete with pro players. And that was, I don't know how expressive of the speed of the player that was. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure if Stormgate has that either. I've seen some of the express of the speed of the player. I've seen some players that had some interesting strategies in Stormgate. You know, like Art knows what I'm talking about. You know, like I think this is scope. I think this is complete cope, honestly.
The last
Don't,
one, I'm because I want to move on.
yeah.
If you can say anything about Stormgate, I'll say they're pretty good at staying the course. They don't listen too much to other people. They haven't reworked much. They're pretty
I don't know if
much.
that, yeah,
It's pretty much
I
the game concept has stayed the game
I
concept.
mean,
So
but
I wouldn't worry
this is
about that
referring
one.
SC2. This is referring SC2, obviously. I don't even think this is true for SC2, by the way.
Uh,
What's the last big patch you can think
well,
of?
and I think a lot of the things that were really toxic they got rid of, right? So like, really cringe swarm hosts are gone. What like the wave swarm hosts have
Cannon
gone.
Rush is still in
Cannon
the
Rush is
game.
still in. Okay, never mind. He's got a point.
Mech and Skytos are still in the game
Yeah.
because all the mech players will drop 1,000 MMR if they actually were forced to use more than 100 APM. Sorry. I cannot say this. I have to be a friend of everyone. Mech players are just as good as other people. Oh my
Just
god.
as good as normal players. Okay, I'm gonna switch the screen to this one. This is a
This is
meme one
good.
to round out, and just to point out that most people on the internet are idiots. There should be tournaments that you enter where you pay like $1 and enter into a bracket of 16 or 32. It should pay out the top four, and you should be able to watch the finals. A rule to add: there will be no player that is 1,000 MMR points higher or lower than another player. You could set this up in bronze all the way up to GM or whatever it's called. Now Stormgate has to figure out how to have only one player per account, and they will rake in money. Oh yeah, Stormgate gets a percentage as a server cost. Boom, game on. Bro, there are already Smurfs in like a Diamond League tournament. You know who I'm talking about. They'll
Pro
just
players
what?
in
No,
Diamond League
there were
tournament.
already Smurfs on the automated tournament system that's in StarCraft. Now there will be people doing it for money, where there are already people who there are already people whose job it is to farm RuneScape gold because it pays more than their like minimum wage in their country. You think they won't just sit
Shout
at
out
home
to
and storm
shout out
Stormgate?
shout out to Philly to the Philippines.
Legends, those are my boys. I just read this. I was like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. I mean, and also, I feel like it would at some point it would break gambling laws. Immediately, the game would be. I don't know what rating it is now. I don't know if it has a rating if it's in pre-release. But it's probably going to be like a 12, maybe a
And
16.
also,
As
but
soon as there's
also you're
money
like,
in it,
oh
it's
yeah, 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 yeah,
18
yeah.
minimum.
Now Stormgate has to figure out how to have only one player per account.
Well, that's really easy, right?
What? Yeah, that's really easy. I know a game that did that. I know a game that does it. You wanna know what the game is called? It's called Osu. To this day, I will die on this hill. I think also having a one account per player policy is one of the worst things that they ever did.
What is the point of
It's
Osu having a one-player account policy? I've played a little bit of Osu. Don't you just set
basically
leaderboards? Is it just to stop
well,
one
one to
guy camping
prevent
every
like
leaderboard?
sandbagging, smurfing in tournaments, obviously. And the other thing is that it was chosen by the creator Peppy 20 years ago, and he never changed his mind on this. I think he
Pissed.
want to prevent stuff like people playing on multiple accounts, because the way that PP is calculated is weird. Like you
Fair.
get your top
Oh,
scores.
yeah, it's based on like
So
how
if you
many other people are at that level, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, no, not that. No, no, that was PP1. But like it's if you have like 100, let's suppose you have 100 plays, right? That are worth 1 point to 100. The highest is worth 100%, so you get 100 point. The second highest is worth 99. The third highest is worth 98, and so on and so forth. So actually, you don't get the full 1 to 100. You get the highest play is fully considered, and then all other players are considered less and less, and there's like a formula in depending how much the each play is weighted. So if you split your account, now suddenly you have like ways of having a well, it doesn't matter regardless because you should always look at your main account. But there were problems like this.
Yeah.
I don't know why it does it. It created me intense annoyance for a lot of reasons. It's annoying because, for example, if you stop playing the game and you come back to it,
Yeah,
you cannot
your
set
old
any
rating will
score.
be really high. Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot set any scores ever. You will need like months of playing before you ever get back. Basically, it stops you at your peak always. Imagine if your MMR was stuck at your peak.
Yeah.
Now there is no
Well,
competitive
or you can come
matchmaking. It's
back
a
and
single player
yeah.
game, so it's not
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but it's just dumb. Also, who the fuck will do this? Tell me one person that, like, after the novelty wears out, will pay $1 to enter a bracket of 16 or 32. Why? Do you get money at the end? Is
well,
that the
yeah,
thing?
if you get to top 4, you get money.
I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know. This feels very gambling. Also, Alpha appeared this game. Remember that guy that said I made up that Reddit post about making a StarCraft tournament? Do you have to pay $10?
Yes, I remember, and you couldn't have more than 100 APM.
Yeah, and then it would
Oh,
also
I
would
should have
reserve
put
the right to kick anyone that was too cheesy or didn't play like the guy
I should
play.
have put
Like
that Reddit post in. That was a banger.
this reminds me of that one. This
Okay, I'm gonna complain. I'm gonna be honest. You were right about banelings. Storm kills a baneling like nearly 3 times over. I swear I was having conversations with people and they were like, no, no, the baneling nerf doesn't matter because the baneling will still survive a storm on 5 HP or something.
No, the thing what they are
I
talking
had no
about
idea.
is the fact that bannings can run through a storm. So if you storm and
Okay,
then a banning runs through, the banning with speed is fast enough to
to
go
make
through.
it.
And I don't know
Okay.
if that is still. I think that is not the case anymore. By the way,
From what I remember,
from
people were
my
telling me that it is still that does still
it
work.
might be, but storm
But
definitely
what I said
kills
is that it'll be on so
bannings.
low. I think they was like, oh, it will survive with 5 health, and I was like, yeah, but then a single stalker shot will kill it, so it's pointless if it makes it through anyway. Because
But still, a single
yeah,
stalker shot will still kill it, but still make still much worse. So I would
yeah, I
love to
don't know.
double check this
I
from my
don't know. There you
experience.
go.
A
Okay,
storm definitely more than kills bannings.
so to be clear, I think Stormgate should have the automated tournament system from StarCraft. I thought that was cool, and not enough people use it or slash used it. I do think it was cool. Don't put it for money, idiot. Okay, last one, and this is the last one. The graph is not really readable, but StarCraft is the 8th most watched esport game, 14th most watched game across streaming platforms this month. I don't think it's across streaming platforms. I think it is only on Twitch, maybe on Twitch plus Kick, but I don't think it's. Yeah, it's not. I don't know. In any case, what you'll notice about this is it's not StarCraft 2, it's StarCraft Remastered.
It's
So
19th.
it is on that
In
one,
this
yeah.
yeah,
But
because
no,
it's
but he said most watched game,
esports
and
game.
some of the other
Yeah,
ones are
game.
like
Yeah,
just
there's just
chatting
chatting and stuff
and
like
that sort of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I don't know, bro. Like, sure, it's really like the boomers like it. 20,000 trillion
So
millions of people
I think it must
in
this.
Korea love it.
Yeah, I think the graph must include Korea because I feel like everyone streams on Africa, don't they? Or a lot of people stream on Africa or YouTube maybe. So maybe it's including Africa and YouTube. Not sure. In any case, yeah, hashtag a live game is in the title of this
Yeah,
post.
StarCraft 1 is a
StarCraft
game so
Remastered
alive.
is alive, but
StarCraft 1 is a game so alive it doesn't have build orders. Like you
true.
cannot find build orders. I'm literally opening it right now. It has 159 viewers at this very moment.
So how is it
I
this high? What happened?
let's check StarCraft 2 for comparison. At this moment, I picked it now. StarCraft 2 is at 2K, so almost 10 times over. Actually, no, more than 10 times. I do not think that StarCraft 1 is as popular as this game is making out to be. I think this was like a one thing, or probably there was some big tournament or something happened, or maybe it counts Korea and like Koreans have insane viewership. I'm not quite sure, but you can do the test yourself. You can watch you can open the StarCraft tab at most times and see which one has more viewers. I don't think I've ever done this, and StarCraft 1 had more viewers. I'm not sure. I think StarCraft 1 has like few very big Korean people that like 20K people watch. I think that's my assumption. So like it's reliant on Korea. I could be wrong on
There
this.
are
Most big.
650 StarCraft Remastered viewers on Africa right now.
Yeah, maybe that's the
I don't know what
trick.
time it is in Korea, but it's
It's
pretty popular on
very late
Africa,
in Korea.
but it's less
Either
popular than
very
Minecraft and League of Legends and Sudden Attack and PUBG Battlegrounds. I don't know what this post is. I don't know where these numbers
it's
come
7
from.
a.m. Yeah, it's very early or very late. 7
Yeah,
a.m. in Korea. So probably that's why it's so low.
it's possible. This is including. No, it is not. I was gonna say if it includes YouTube video watch, like YouTube video views, but then I think just chatting wouldn't be on this graph. Don't know. I thought this one was interesting. StarCraft may be a very highly watched game, but StarCraft 2 apparently isn't because it doesn't make it onto this graph. So, not sure. There you go.
I mean, as I said, I'm not quite sure what this post is talking about because I haven't had this personal experience with myself. But what I can say, at least, is that when I tried to get into Brood War, because I played every RTS under the sun, just finding a build order was a struggle. I had to go into specific servers. Those servers were also very poorly organized, and the builds were written terribly. There were no sites, no YouTube guides. Shout out to Oak, who's I think the main source I used at the time to learn how to play Zerg in StarCraft 1. Oak, yeah, the Stormgate player, pretty base guy. That's about it. Like, my experience has been a lot of people play the game, to be fair. But even at 1500, 1400, 1600, when I was there, you often play people with 200, 300 more MMR, which is a big deal in Brood War. It's not like StarCraft. So my experience was it was not particularly alive, but I mean, if
In
this
any
guy
case,
says so.
I only put this in so that I could say, come check us out. Streaming Stormgate soon.
Soon, TM.
Will you go live on the first day? The thing is, I realized the first day is 10 a.m. US time, but it's like 8 p.m. your time is when the servers actually open.
I will try, but that day is also the day have to get a very important call back, if you recall.
Yeah.
And
So
also the
it
move
may
out.
be the next day, but Obviously,
Still
we're on
happening.
Europe time, so come check us out on Europe time. This has gone on for nearly 2.5 hours. Lorimbo, final words, please.
I've been closing it. I think 2.5 hours good for a Reddit reviews, like low effort content. Sorry, super high effort.
Yeah, we
Super.
sweated this one.
Final
A
words.
hard day
Final words.
at the podcast
Like and
factory.
subscribe. Like and subscribe.
And follow us on Spotify. Check us out. Buy our merch.
Wait, what? We have
I'm gone.
merch
I'm
now?
gone. Good night, everyone. I love you all. Good night, Lorimbo.